Good morning, Daybreak Watchers. We're going to get going in about 25 seconds here.
Finding support for my child with ADHD felt overwhelming. I didn't know which direction to take, but Understood.org's resources helped guide me. Now I have the tools I need to keep us moving forward. Visit u.org.
Good morning!
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is where Wisconsin wakes up. It's Daybreak with Brian Noonan and Jamie Martinson. Here are your hosts, Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Civic Media Network. It is 6 minutes after 6 right now. A beautiful start to your Wednesday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
Hey, good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Glad you're here. If you want to get involved with the program or talk to us about anything at all, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Don't forget, after 7 o'clock, you will get your first word of the day for the Accelerate Your Summer Multi-State Text to Win contest. So be listening for that coming up in a little bit. Jamie, working right up until the intro started. Everything all right? You good?
I had a bunch of emails I had to answer. Here's the problem with disconnecting early in the evening to go take the dog for a walk. You miss out on stuff. And then you realize when you get up and you open everything up that there was stuff that you probably should have handled the night before, or there was news that you probably should have kept an eye on. And, you know, it happens to the best of us, but sometimes you just got to put your phone down for a little bit.
Yes, I mean... We're on that used to be more important with the news back in the day. Now news is happening nonstop. It's 24/7. You can't possibly watch everything.
Right.
That's why we got to have Parker just stay up all night.
That's right.
Monitoring things, updating the rundown every 5 minutes. We want the most up to date, up to the minute things ready for us when we come on.
Can you handle that, Parker?
Yeah, I could start doing play-by-play if you want.
All right, you could take a nap from like 2
lovely.
to like 4 every day.
Okay, I like this.
Okay, so 2 to 4,
I do that
and then
anyway.
the rest of the day you're up, and then you're just watching the news.
22-hour day, that's not awful.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll handle those 2 hours. You're on it the rest of the day for us. But
Sick.
I
Okay.
mean, it's essentially, you're right. It is a 24-hour news cycle. But
There's no way you can keep up with everything. And also I do it like by 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's the end of the day. We've been up since 4.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, people need to, I think all of us, not just us, you and me.
Everybody.
But everybody needs to take time and say, you know what? Work is great.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're all replaceable.
Yes.
And you have to have a life and you have to get some rest because
Yes,
I was
and
just
that's
thinking, man, I am perpetually tired.
And that was just it. I put my phone down last night about 9 o'clock, and this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, look at all of the emails that came in after like 9:30 last night. So there are people who are more tethered to their phones than I am if I was getting emails that were of somewhat importance at 9:30, between 9:30 and 11 last night.
And I'm not asking you to shout anybody out. I'm not, but let's be honest. Any of those emails that were sent at 9:30, 10:30 last night, couldn't they have waited till this morning?
They probably could have, but I wonder if they kind of operate like I do, where I will send emails at weird times because
I don't. No.
Because, well, and here's what usually happens for me. And I will sometimes schedule out emails to send like the next day at a certain time. I do that as well.
That's better, yeah.
I do that as well. But a lot of times if it's, before 10 o'clock and it comes into my head, it's one of those things where I need to write it because I also know that other people will check their email like me when they have time, right? And if it's really, really important, I'm going to wait till the next day because I probably need an immediate answer. If it's just something that I can send out and I'm like, I need you to kind of ponder this or let's connect on this a little bit later on, then I'll usually send it out. But that's usually because it's not a rush thing, right? Like I know that they can.
I was going to say, but also if you send it late at night, it's going to be buried by the next day.
Yes. and I don't expect them to usually answer. So if it's really important, I'm going to wait till the next day. If it's somewhat that, I know we need to connect on something, but it's a little bit more leisurely, I'll send those out whenever. If it's something that I need a response on, but I know that there's a more appropriate time for somebody to get it in their inbox, then I schedule things. So it really just depends on my grade in my head of the importance of the email. These were some things that came in last night that I needed to handle for later this morning before like noon today. But now they're handled, so we're good. No big deal. It wasn't an emergency. It was just questions I had to answer.
I am always. I remember reading a number of business things, and don't send emails after this.
I know. I know.
And I
there
also
used to be etiquette. I don't think there's any etiquette on it anymore because we're all always on our phones.
Well, because we're expected to be available 24/7 because we've allowed ourselves to become, and this is with a lot of jobs. That's why sometimes I envy people who shift work because at the end of the shift you're done. You're walk
done.
Away.
Yeah.
And our job is different. It is more of a continuation during the day. We're always watching stuff and doing stuff. But there is a point where it's just your job,
Yeah, I know.
I'm not singling you out. I'm just it's a phenomenon that's everywhere.
I think about these things though all the time, especially when I have conversation with friends or when we're talking about our work-life balance. And here's what I've learned. I also have friends who live in Europe. I have a really great friend going all the way back to high school who's been living in Scotland now for, I don't know, about the last 25 years. And her work-life balance, the fact that they untether and they have this, they'll just be like, nope, we're done for the day. They're so much better at it in countries that are not the United States. And they really are good at it in a lot of, especially in Europe. They're really good at just being like, nope, they do a lot of 4-day weeks in some of those countries in Europe.
And they're productive because
I know.
I mean, as long as you do an honest day's work when you're at work
and
you work hard, you do deserve to go home and not have to work anymore.
Yes.
It's like, I want to relax. I want to see my kids. I want to go to the grocery store. I want to
I don't really love grocery shopping, but the other day I said to Corey, because we do a lot of delivery to our house because of our schedule.
Yeah.
And I said to Corey the other day, I said, you know what I kind of miss? And I thought I literally thought he was going to have the big one, right? Because I looked at him and I said, I kind of miss going to the grocery store and doing my own shopping. And he goes, but you hate grocery shopping. I said, yeah, but it feels normal when I do it, right? Like having delivery does not feel normal to me. Even though it is a convenience for me, it doesn't feel normal. Going to the store, getting my own groceries feels normal.
It's one more level of isolation. And it is a convenience. There's no doubt about it. But it's one more level of us not having to, and trust me, I hate leaving the house. Every time I leave, I can't wait to go back. But it connects you in some way to the rest of the world.
Right.
And I like to pick my own apples when I'm at the store. I like to look at the steaks and go, I don't like the look of that one. I like the look of that one, and I'll take that.
Now, after I'm there for about 10 minutes and I run into about 4 people, I'm usually like, oh, please bring me my sweatpants and that delivery again because this is too much. But it feels normal to be in the store and do things that other people are doing and not have my groceries delivered. And I will never complain about delivery service, and I will never complain about having to tip because I am one of those people who is so appreciative of the actual service. But he did. He had the Red Fox moment, right? Like where he's like, I'm gonna have the big one because I'm like, I kind of want to leave the store and do my own shopping for a change. And he's like, wow, okay. So he kind of knew at that point that I probably needed to disconnect a little bit. And
you can disengage from everything else because you're focused on getting through the store quickly. Getting around the people who are draped over the cart like they had their spines removed on the way in, the people who put their cart crossways across the aisle and are completely oblivious that there's other people. The screaming kids. Can I add one more beef to that list? The people who walk on the side of their cart.
Yes. Why do you do that?
I don't know. I've had just about enough of it.
Sometimes
it's one of my biggest. You guys know I'm bothered by pretty much everything, But this, when they put a handle on the cart for a reason. You don't have to walk next to it like it's your girlfriend or boyfriend or
Right.
whoever
Now,
it
I
is.
will say I've done this before, but only in occasions where if I'm in an aisle, because sometimes you'll have your list, right? I go in with my
always
list.
got
I'm
my
armed.
list.
And because otherwise I end up with things in my cart that I don't need. But if everything is in the same aisle on the same side and I'm just literally going down, grabbing it and putting it in, I'll walk by the side of my cart to do that. But I won't do it if it's normally, right?
Right,
Like
yeah.
if I have multiple things in a row that I can just
Sure,
grab and
there's
put in,
always
then-
exceptions.
But
you know,
otherwise, I don't understand that.
right. I'm talking about the people who that's their MO.
Because now you're taking up basically, because I think of stores as like traffic lanes, right? Like you've got some
Yes,
people going one way,
right.
you've got other people going one way. Why are you stopped in the middle? Because now you're holding it up for everybody. And so if you're doing the side on the cart thing and you're pushing, now you're taking up 2 lanes. You're essentially taking
Yep.
up both lanes of traffic. So you would be annoyed at a driver doing that in the car. So please don't do it in the store.
I know sometimes I catch myself going, dude, just take a breath and relax. But the breaths are very short. They're rapid
I know, it's
succession.
hard.
I don't take a deep cleansing breath. It's like, come on, just do remember
Yeah.
there's other people. And then, all right, I got to get this out. I'm sorry.
Okay, please.
But
No,
everybody,
please.
everybody can, I think, feel for me. And you've had these experiences where people just ask you dumb questions, just really stupid questions, and I want to lose my mind. So I told you this week. I'm moving my mom
Yes.
from one assisted living to
How
another
is that
place.
going?
It's going.
Okay.
It's I got all the pictures hung up in the new place yesterday.
Wow.
So she can. The goal is when she comes in tomorrow, which
It
is
feels
moving
like
day,
home.
feels like home.
Yeah.
So today it's going to be packing. But anyway, it's all fine. Moving sucks no matter if you're 25 or 85.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Moving is awful. Well, now, because I'm doing most of the logistical stuff. Debbie and I are handling all of it. I get a call from my aunt the other day after I told her that my mom was moving. I just want to know, are they going to be giving her medicine at the new place?
What? No, that's not a thing.
I know. I had to pause and I had to go, all right, remember, this woman is also 80. Relax. I
Okay,
said, yeah,
all right.
of course they're going to give her medicine. Well, I'm just asking, will they be taking... I said, they're going to do it. Why don't you just ask me if they're going to feed her there too? Or if they have indoor plumbing? Will she have to go out in the field to take a dump? No, she's going to be fine. Everything. I'm like, just... What do you think?
What did they-
Do you
what did
honestly
she-
think I'm going to take her somewhere, just
I
like
was
leave
just
her in a
gonna say,
closet
what
like
did
Harry
she-
Potter?
Did she think that you hadn't spent hours and time researching
I
these
don't
facilities
know.
and you were just going to leave her somewhere, like tie her to a chair?
She had the senior citizen thing of, well, I have a friend who lives in a place and they didn't give her medicine, and da-da-da. I said, well, I wouldn't put my mom in a place like that. She, I'm
It was
sorry.
good that she was concerned, though. It was
Is
very
it,
nice
Jamie?
she was concerned.
Is it nice that she's concerned? Can't she just be concerned at home and live
She
with the
could be.
doubt that somehow my mom's going to be mistreated,
I
which
just
she is
love
not?
that she didn't trust you enough to make this decision for your mom.
Everybody. Well, that's a family trait. Just get in line. But I'm like, are they going to give her medicine? What? All right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
So, just for the record, in case anybody from some government department is listening, yes, my mom's going to be getting all her medicine. She's going to be very well taken care of. It's all going to be great.
She's gonna have all of the amenities that she needs in order to live, survive, including the medicine and food. In
Yeah,
case your
I'm not
aunt's
tying
listening
her
this
up to a
morning.
tree and just leaving her out in the woods. Anyway, hey, New Jersey is suing a ICE detention center. We'll get into all of that. It's Wednesday morning. This is Daybreak on
I'm
the Civic
Jamie
Media Network. Oh, she's Jamie Martinson. I'm Brian
Brian
Newton.
Newton. There we go.
Still the Civic Media Network. Too much of a pause, Parker.
All right.
Scott from Madison texting in saying, as we were talking about the European countries, it's because they have universal health care systems, so people can quit their job if their job is tethering them down. It's how you get work-life balance because you have more freedom. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
true. A lot of
also-
people don't. A
Yeah.
lot of people will not quit just because they need their insurance or their,
Right.
the job market is rough. It's
They also have significantly more PTO built into their jobs.
Yes.
yes.
I mean, it's just like in some countries, my friend Ellen, who's been in Scotland, she married a Scottish naval officer, and she is a minister in Scotland,
wow.
of a beautiful, beautiful church. She, when she had her two kids, Daisy and Sam, even though she was the minister at this church, and her husband is also an ordained minister, even though he's in the Navy, she was able to take off an entire year to be home with each of them and still get paid fully. And then he was able to take off the second year and take leave from the Navy and be home with the kids for the next year. So they were
So from
able to
when they were 1 to 2 years old, he got paid to be home.
0 to 2, yeah, from birth to 2, they basically had mom and or dad
mom
with
for a year
them.
and then dad. Wow. Yeah. Well, we're all about gung ho capitalism and the hustle. The hustle is real, and we can't.
Hey, ladies, you just had a baby. Can you be back to work in 4 weeks? You'll be perfectly fine. It's good.
You're lucky we're giving you that.
I mean,
And then the problem is then people buy into it and they take part.
Yes.
I haven't had a day off and blah blah blah. I work 20 hours a day. I sleep for an hour and a
Right.
half.
I do all of those things, but I don't take pride in it. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. Like it's not a badge of courage. It's a literal what the hell are we doing?
All right. We got 15 seconds till we're back.
All right.
All facts, no fiction. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Civic Media Network. It is 6:22 right now. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Glad you are here. A lot to get to today, but we've been seeing the footage over the last few days of protests in New Jersey outside of Delaney Hall, which is where they have been holding ICE detainees. There have been complaints about inhumane conditions. There have been complaints about hunger strikes. There are all kind of things. Well, New Jersey has filed a lawsuit against GEO Group. That's the private company that operates the Delaney Hall Immigration Detention Center in Newark, seeking a court order that would allow state health officials to conduct a full inspection of the facility, which it surprises me that that's not already
Right.
a thing. You would think any business licensed in a state that houses human beings would be under some sort of oversight from the state authorities.
Right.
But-
we just need to send your aunt in.
Yeah, well, she
mean-
got a lot of questions. Are they getting their medicine? Is she eating? Do they have indoor plumbing?
I mean, and I hate to joke, but I mean, honestly, it sounds like she's doing more of her due diligence than maybe this facility is doing with the state inspectors.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I will also once again reiterate my mom not a detainee.
Right.
She's
right. Exactly.
she's not living in inhumane conditions.
No.
Anyway, so the detainees and advocates alleged unsanitary conditions, inadequate medical care, spoiled food, psychological mistreatment. Some detainees reportedly launched a hunger strike to protest conditions inside the center. State officials say they were only allowed to inspect limited areas of the facilities, such as food service operations, and were denied broader access needed to evaluate health and safety concerns. That should be a monumental red flag.
Right.
I also don't like this idea of privatizing jails and privatizing these detention centers, because once you're paid, obviously there is no oversight.
Right.
We're hoping New Jersey can get some sort of, figure out what's going on in there. But
Right. Well, and that's just it. But I mean, with the privatization of some of these facilities, this has been a dream of the Republican Party for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
They like the privatization, and I'm not going to say that there's not some Democrats who haven't been on that bandwagon as well. But it really, I think, deters how much control the state has. I think it deters how much the federal government has. And then you end up with issues like we're seeing in New Jersey. And by the way, this isn't new. This is exactly the same MO that we've been watching happen across the country with these facilities, right? Whether they're privatized, whether they're not, it's the exact same thing. And so, I mean, I'll give New Jersey some credit here because they've been watching what's been happening across the country, and they're not backing down. I mean, they're really not. And I can appreciate that because the more that these facilities come under fire, whether they are state facilities, whether they're federal facilities, whether they're private facilities, and the more the federal government tries to interfere with these facilities, the more that these states are able to draw up their own playbooks as to what's been happening across the country. And New Jersey is obviously they've taken some notes, right? They're like, we're gonna bring our state officials in. They're taking that playbook from Minnesota right now. So good for them for making sure that there's some oversight here.
well, and what's the when it's all just for profit, which this is,
Right.
and when you have the mentality on one side of the aisle that these people who are being held there are the worst of the worst, even though we're finding a lot are not, not even close to being able to see the worst of the worst. But there's no incentive for them to treat these people humanely. And if they're not, if there's no government oversight, they're not going to. As long as they're getting their checks, they're going to just do the bare minimum. It's basically you're warehousing people. You're not.
Yes.
And as much as people scream about humane treatment when it comes to animals, chickens, pigs being jammed into warehouses, there should be that much outrage. Really, there should be more outrage. But there should be at least at the bare minimum, the equal amount of outrage when you hear these things and see this footage.
This is a facility that can hold 1,000 detainees. So think about the amount of people who are stacked in there, and now we're being told that the conditions are unsanitary. There's the medical care is uncertain. I mean, think about what that is like in that facility and what that is doing to the people. And you got to imagine, and here's the other thing that I always go back to. It doesn't matter if it's adults or not, but you think about the effect that this is going to also have on kids that are being held in this facility. I mean, I don't understand. I understand that if you are a legal immigrant and you need to be detained in a facility, but these are still human beings who have rights, and they're still human beings who deserve some actual comforts and food and the medicine and all of that. Going back to that previous conversation,
food and the bathroom and they just
all of it.
Imagine
they're
how
not animals,
right? You know how crowded it is at when you go to a baseball game and you need to go to the bathroom. That's why people run up the aisle between innings.
Right.
Now imagine that just in a more cramped spot with 1,000 people, and I'm sure they didn't budget in extensive bathroom facilities. I'm sure it's just whatever state guidelines. You have to have this many for this many people. There's nothing extra in there. The whole thing just is cruel, but the cruelty has been part of the deal, right?
Yes.
The cruelty is what we've experienced in the way these are treated. And I don't have to apologize. I know most of our listeners know that everybody believes the immigration system needs to be fixed.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that while you're fixing it, you treat the people that are being caught up like they're animals.
It
or
shouldn't
even
be inhumane.
worse.
It shouldn't be inhumane. And that's just it. And I know there's been arguments over the years of, Barack Obama, he detained families. Well, yes, but the facilities were still clean.
Right.
They still had basic care needs that they were given in that process. So it doesn't sound like that's happening maybe in Newark right now.
No, and Newark itself is sometimes if you've been to Newark, it feels like you're being detained somewhere unsanitary, but that's just you choose to be in Newark. All right, when we come back, Portage schools are going to put mental health at the forefront. It is 6:30. I'm Brian Noonan. She's Jamie Martinson. This is Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
right.
Yeah, this whole thing has always been about the cruelty. And I think they think that's some deterrence that the crueler they
Yeah.
are, the less people want to come here or will scare them into going home or
No, they'll just find more creative ways to get stuff in. Did you see that story about the cartel tunnel?
I did.
I was like, holy, how long does
Yeah.
it take to build a tunnel like that? And that is some dedication. I got to give the
Right?
cartels that. They are
They're
dedicated and they are
dedicated.
clever. Ventilated,
Yeah.
lit. It had a rail system underneath
And then
it.
when you have people who are literally scared of you to do the work for you.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're not complaining that they don't have a work-life balance.
It takes usually, I mean, I'm sure it took some time, but they could usually move things a little faster because, they have people who owe debts that are working for them and
Yep.
all of that.
Listen, El Jefe, I need some time away. I can't be dealing with this.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Gas is averaging $4.26 a gallon. Did you see $3.89 gas, Parker?
I don't think so.
The BP's in town are at
Are they?
$3.89.
Wow.
A couple of them, at least when I drive in. I don't know where gas is, what gas is like everywhere else.
Yeah.
I was like, look, there's no 4. Well, diesel. So I didn't get too excited because anybody who has diesel,
Yeah.
yikes.
Yeah.
What did I pay the other night? $4.67, I think.
It's ridiculous. I was just talking to Max yesterday, and he's like, is gas getting any cheaper by you? And I said, yeah, actually. I said, it's come down a little bit. And he's like, I wish it was in Milwaukee. So I was like, yikes.
Pardon me.
Does your mom understand that she's going to a new home?
Yeah, I told her Monday and she was upset. She couldn't understand why, she thought it was her
Sure.
fault. Well, I didn't ask for it.
No.
I said, no, it's not that you asked for more help. They just, for whatever reason, and I said, it doesn't matter. It's not, if they say they can't take care of you, we want to find a place that can take care of you. And
Right.
so then yesterday was better. It was mostly confusion about where she was going to sleep. I said, well, you're sleeping here tonight and tomorrow night. And then Thursday, I said, your new bed's already at the place. I saw it. It's already there. So you have a bed. You're going to like the apartment. Everything will be set so that when she gets there,
Yeah.
it's going to be like home. And,
Yeah.
that's because she said, oh, yeah, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't remember where I am, but then I see the pictures and I know I'm home. I said, well, that's why.
Yeah.
I said, that's why I'm taking them down today. I was like the Grinch. I'm taking them from here and I'm moving them to there. So I came in, I stripped the walls clean. Everything was gone. And then today, Debbie and I are going to go. Debbie took today and tomorrow off, and she's going to help me pack everything up and get
Yeah.
her done. And then she needed to get a TB test before she could move. And so today I have to take her back to get the results of the TB test. But it's all going to be fine. She did say, I know it's not
Yep.
your fault, so that's good.
That's good. At
But
least
she
she's
said
not
it.
angry.
I really, 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 really hope I never have to move again. I said, Ma, I really, 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 really hope you never have to move again too. So, but
and this one's closer to you too, right?
this one's about
Okay.
instead of 45 to 50 minutes, it's about 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
So no, that's not bad at all. And it just that's what it is. But
Yeah.
that was what she was having trouble with. It was like, why? What did I
Yeah.
do? You didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's funny because they get to a certain point, right? We always experience this with our family too, where it's almost like they're children, where they think it's like a punishment when you move them or have to put them move them to a different facility or for better care or whatever. It's
And
not
I couldn't
punishment.
really explain it to her either because I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
But I did say, I said, well, they don't have enough staff. Oh no, they're always saying that they don't have staff.
We got a couple seconds to our back.
All right, thank you.
local news, community stories, and the conversations that matter most. Now, more Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:35 right now. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're in Madison, listening on WMDX, or in Eau Claire on 93.5 The Tap, or in Wisconsin Rapids this morning, listening on WFHR, we're glad that you decided to join us. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. How important do you think mental health care is in elementary schools? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Very important in Portage, because the Portage Community School District is planning to create an in-house clinic offering mental health support to students at school. The new grant is going to help the district provide a centralized location, quick access, and an open door to students who need help finding treatment. Studies show that rural districts face challenges in addressing student mental health because they typically have fewer resources and less access to experts and funding for students. That, according to Steve Goldberg of the WEA Member Benefits Foundation, that's a charity focused on schools. They awarded Portage $41,000 to help organize the clinic, train teachers, and offer counseling sessions on campus. They say, according to the head of the Portage School District, she said, mental health is a top priority for us. So that district serves about 2,100 students from kindergarten through 12th grade. And they're seeing an uptick, which is, It's a shame, a big uptick in anxiety and all sorts of mental health issues. And yes, I know they use COVID as a thing, that it's gotten worse since COVID. And I did see a lot more kids with, as they like to say, big feelings. A lot of big feelings.
A lot of big feelings. And honestly, if you're listening to this morning and you have a kid in K through 12, and I obviously don't want to dismiss college students either, because the mental health services are very important for them too. I think this is a good thing, right?
Oh,
because
100%.
there's so many families out there that, as we talk about the healthcare and the state of, trying to even get resources at this point, the fact that these schools are stepping up and saying, you know what, we want to take care of these kids, we want to help them, and these kids have a place to go where they feel like they can be heard, they can get the help they need if they feel like they're struggling, or teachers notice that they're struggling. That's always a good thing, right? We've, and I've talked about this. Both of my boys have dealt with mental health issues. They have, my younger son has debilitating anxiety. It took about 2 years for him to really accept the fact that he had anxiety. It took him about 2 years for him to accept the fact that he was probably going to need medicine for that for the rest of his life. And it took 2 years of his life, because he literally wouldn't leave the house, and he woke up every day wanting nothing more than to not be in this world. My older son, we had issues with him as well, where he literally tried to take his own life at one point, and it was simply because, and we were present. Let me tell you, we were there with him every single day. But it was just things inside of them that they felt like they couldn't get out, or that they felt guilty about, when there was no guilt or shame that should have been involved. So the fact that these schools are able to offer this service, and because we were lucky, our insurance covered the mental health care that both of our boys needed. And our older one, in fact, just the other day, about 4 weeks ago, he said to me, he goes, I have a counselor again, right? A therapist. And I said, no, but thank you for recognizing that you needed one as a 22-year-old adult, and went out and found one for yourself, right? So I think that this is a great, great program.
Well, and the issue isn't always with the teachers or the schools, and I was very disheartened to see this a number of times when we had kids who definitely had issues, and parents would, when the social workers would suggest, or the teachers would talk to the social workers and the admin, and we'd all come to a conclusion, okay, and the parents would come in and we'd say, this is what's going on, and we would suggest that they get some sort of therapy. And there's agencies that do it for free. I mean, even if you don't, because we were in a pretty financially strapped district.
Sure.
But there were parents who just wouldn't do it. And some of it's cultural, some of it's shame, some of it's, I mean, you said, and I don't know if you felt you had to justify, because I don't think people would think you weren't present for your children, but you threw that in.
You have to justify it, right?
Right.
You feel like, as a parent, you're like, what signs did I miss? When our older one told us that he tried to take his own life, we were like, we're here with you every day, right? You
Yeah.
were still living in our house. How did we miss these signs? And then as a parent, there's this immense amount of guilt that you
Sure.
feel because you're like, oh my gosh, my kid's been struggling and life is hard enough as it is. And that as a parent, you aren't able to recognize those things. Because in his, when he was with us, he was quiet, but we thought it's because he was trying to contemplate life. He had taken a year off from school. His
Okay.
plans had completely changed. And we were like, okay, well, maybe he's a very introspective person anyway. And so we had noticed that he was quiet, but not acting any different. He was getting up, he was going to work, he was doing his thing, he was, gaming with his friends, he was going out with his friends who lived in the area. And then all of a sudden one night, Corey came home. It was about 1 a.m. He'd come home from the station in Baraboo, and here was our kid running by the side of the road at 1 a.m. in the cold, in the dark, with his headphones on. And it just was this thing, and it expounded in the garage with dad and kid and crying, and all of it came out at one time. And of course, at that time, he's 18 years old. So as a parent, your hands are kind of tied because they're
Right.
legally adults, right? So it had
Yep.
to be him who had to make those calls to set up those appointments, and we did it with him every step of the way. But you're right. It's an immense amount of guilt, and you do feel like you have to justify it because
Yeah.
you're like, how the hell could I have been such a bad parent that I missed the fact that my kid didn't want to be here anymore?
Well, that's what made me so mad that it wasn't it. The parents were just, no, we're not going to do that. They don't need that. It's like, boy, and I get it. I come from a generation and a family of people who, most of us have therapists. A number of us are on medication. There's a
Yeah.
lot. But back then, you shut up, you sucked it up, you put your head down, and you just kept going. And that's what I try to tell. I try to tell Molly. I try to tell younger people. I go, don't wait till you're
No.
till you're old to finally get help, because you waste a lot of time. And it's scary. But according to DPI, nearly 60% of Wisconsin
Yeah.
high school students report experiencing one mental health challenge, either anxiety, depression, emotional distress. State surveys found about 52% of students report anxiety, and I would venture a guess, and again, this is just a theory, but these numbers are probably the same as numbers were when I was in high school,
Yeah.
but nobody talked about it.
Right.
So thank goodness that now we're more open about it, and we realize that, yeah, there are mental difficulties and people have mental illnesses, and it's not a character flaw. Just like we don't look at other things as a character flaw. If you have cancer, we don't go, oh,
Right.
man, that guy got cancer.
Right. Right.
No,
There-
we treat it. And so now kids are open about it, and just like kids do, there's kids who will,
Sure.
escalate it and exaggerate it, but the majority of kids who you can tell, or they finally open up to you, it's legit, it's serious, and it needs
is.
to be addressed. And since kids spend a lot of time in school, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
And if parents get defensive and go, well, you're trying to tell me how to raise my kid. No, I'm just trying to help. Educator's job is to help your kids.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they do it in a number of different ways. And if Portage, and that because Portage is not the only district where they're seeing these kind of numbers.
Right.
A lot of rural districts, a lot of districts all over the state, all over the country are going through the same thing. Portage is just being proactive. They thankfully got this grant. And I hope now, as it goes forward, it can be used as an example for other districts around the state to go, oh, all right, this isn't just throwing money away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's other districts, big districts like Madison, Milwaukee, and Eau Claire that already partner with healthcare providers to offer on-campus counseling, therapy, and then some behavioral health services as well, which then help students, they also help those students then access care without ever leaving school. What I think, too, is an important discussion right now is the fact that for a lot of families, this is the medical resource, right? There are
Yeah.
actually schools in this state that are partnering with hospital facilities and putting clinics in their hospitals so that students have some kind of health care as well, which is
Good.
I think it's great, but it also speaks of the sad state that we're in with our healthcare, our mental health care in this country, that schools are actually recognizing this and being like, we're a resource for these kids, and we're going to help provide some of this. And granted, when we're talking the clinics, it's minor things, like illnesses, fevers, all of that. But the fact that these even exist so that our students and our families who have students in those schools feel like they can get their students taken care of. I mean, I think it's a sad state when that is the source of health care for a lot of our families.
I think it's horrible on a lot of levels, but I also think, I don't know, I wonder how many, even if there was mental health care on your insurance, say, I wonder how many people would still access it. I like that it's in schools because the teachers and administrators and social workers, they see these kids all the time.
Yes.
And kids, you know this, I know this, kids can be a lot different at school than they are at home,
Yes.
and vice versa. And the parents who think their kids, everything's rosy all the time.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't even be thinking about it. They'd just say, that's Timmy. He doesn't,
Right.
he's emotional.
I also love, too, when you talk about the mental health care, is that it doesn't even necessarily need to be for the anxiety, the depression, suicidal thoughts. I mean, some kids just put a lot of pressure on themselves, and sometimes they just need to have somebody to vent to. I was one of those kids, right? Like in high school.
That does not surprise me at all.
I would have loved to have these resources because my person was my English teacher who had just graduated from college about 2 years before she came to our high school. So she was younger. She was about our age. She was also an overachiever, and she's still a very good friend of mine because we were very close in age, right? Yeah. When I was a sophomore, she was only 2 years out of college. So we were fairly close in age. She was that person for me. And because we were such a small school, I graduated with 18 in my class because South Dakota rural schools. I went from a school of 400 in my graduating class to one of 18. And so it was very much a different experience for me all the way around. But she was that person for a lot of us because she had smaller classes. She knew us very, very well because all of the classes were small in our particular high school. So she could recognize those things in us right away. So she was that person. But it doesn't even need to be for big things. And your point about insurance, if you are a parent and you are recognizing that your kid is maybe struggling, I will say this as somebody who's gone through this. Sit on the phone. I know it's hard. I know you don't always want to sit on the phone on hold waiting for insurance. See what they will actually cover. Because for us, our particular insurance, and we've been very fortunate, our particular insurance over the years has treated mental health care just like regular doctor visits. So it was literally a copay, and that was it. Sometimes they consider it to be specialized medicine, so your copay, if you have one, might be a little bit higher. But a lot of times, your insurance will cover it as regular medicine. So be prepared to sit on the phone because that's always fun. But ask the questions and make sure that you know if you want to get that private care for somebody in your life, whether it's you, your kids, whatever. But I know. Nobody wants to sit on the phone with insurance.
And if you don't have it, there's county programs, there's state programs, there's ways to avail yourself of those kind of services.
Yes.
So do it. Well, we've got an artist who is suing FIFA. You know, the World Cup, folks. Yes, art versus soccer in court. Why? We'll tell you about it. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 648. You're listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Yeah, Dexter still sees, and that's the one nice thing too is now telehealth is a thing.
Yep.
So, which is really nice because Dexter sees his counselor every other week his therapist every other week. And it's all telehealth. He schedules it himself. He logs in. And then they just send me an email and say, we're billing you. We charged your card for your copay. Yep. And off we go with life. And he's able to get his appointments in and doesn't have to wait for us. So.
They still need to be in state, though, right? Or they have to have been certified in your state?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I had a high school girlfriend that ran into that when she went off to college. She's like, damn it.
Yeah.
I have to take a bus across the river for this to work, really?
Yes. Yes. Yep, they have to be within your state. But and sometimes, like in this region, what I learned too is like Dexter's therapist is actually certified for Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Sure.
So if Dexter, because Dexter loves the Twin Cities, I fully believe he'll probably move back there at some point in life. So and I foresee him being with Justin for quite some time. Justin's been really great for Dexter.
Yeah, if you find somebody, that's the trick.
Dexter was really good when he was really little at gaming the system because he would tell the therapist that everything was great. And then when we'd go in there, he'd be like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then they'd come out, they'd talk to me, and I'd be like, what child did you just talk to? Those things are not like, but he was really good at gaming the system. So therapy was really hard for him. And then he met this particular therapist, and Justin had also gone through a lot of the same issues as Dexter. So one of the things Justin said to him first and foremost is, it's my job to get you to fire me because we've got you to a place where you feel so good with your mental health. And that resonated with Dexter because Dexter was very much I don't want to do this forever. Well, dude, you might have to, right? Like
nobody wants
you literally
to do it
might have
forever,
to.
but
right. But it's part of like who you are. So get used to it.
Well, at least they figured it out young. That's
Yeah.
That is good. Because there is a lot of help out there.
There is.
And you got to know you need it, and two, then you have to be smart and brave enough to go and get it.
And I appreciate the fact that where we're at right now, mental health is not there's still a stigma, but it's not like it used to be, as you were saying, right? Like people do consider it to be part of just their overall health now.
It's almost gone too far the other way in some cases where like, all right, everything is not a mental health issue.
Right.
And,
yes.
We got about 10 seconds till we're back here.
Fairly solid and better than expected. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:52 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hey, you're playing the Doors. I have a Doors t-shirt on.
I saw the shirt on,
Yay, thank you. Thank you for that. Doors were my dad's favorite. So, yes, I'm a huge Doors fan. I want to remind everybody that coming up after 7 o'clock, we're just about 14 minutes away or so for the next word of the hour. We're kicking off the multi-state text to win contest this morning with another word. So get that Civic Media app ready. Remember, you can win some daily cash prizes, a prize package to Wisconsin Dells, and then, of course, grand prizes of $250 in gas and $250 in groceries. So definitely want to be ready to text in after 7 o'clock this morning.
I'm ready. I've had the app for months. Just
Everybody
for today. Yeah, we've been telling you since January to get the app.
Right.
But who listens? We should also tell you to go to Spotify, subscribe to the podcast. That would be great. How about you like Facebook? You like Instagram? So do we. So you could go to the Daybreak with Brian and Jamie pages and get all of those subscribed to. So much to do. This story hits close to home. One, because I am not a huge football fan with FIFA. But that's beside the point.
Sure.
Weiland is, if you don't know Weiland, he's a Hawaiian artist, and he does a lot of whales and dolphins and seascapes, and it's beautiful stuff. He paints, he sculpts. It's just gorgeous, and he's been known for murals all around. And there used to be a beautiful whale mural in Chicago, and as you drove up Lakeshore Drive, you could see it on the side of the building. And then progress came. And by progress, I mean we got to put up more buildings,
right? And
it blocked the mural. So now, in downtown Dallas, there was a mural of life-size swimming whales. Well, Weiland has filed a $25 million lawsuit against soccer's international governing body and others, saying that they illegally painted over it to promote the World Cup matches.
Wow.
So not only did they... It's not blocked because of construction. They chose to paint over a piece of public art for commerce.
I mean, and
which
this is a knowing act because this was huge. It was roughly 17,000 square feet across two buildings' walls. So it wasn't like you just we accidentally painted over it. There's no way you could say that this was accidental. This was a masterful planned project to take down to paint over this particular mural.
Painting over it is just it's like low-rent graffiti at that point. It's like, what are you doing?
It was there for 30 years, Brian. This particular mural was on these buildings for almost 3 decades.
Well, then we've seen enough whales, Jamie. We got to tell people to come and buy overpriced FIFA World Cup tickets. We got to get them in. Football is life. And I'm sure football, soccer, let's call it soccer. And if you're gonna be a purist and call me up and say it's football, I know it's football, but we talk football here. Yeah. We talk soccer here. So that's the way it is. Anyway, so let's really monetize this World Cup soccer thing, and let's paint over art. And I don't know. I did not see the mural. I don't know how weathered it is after 30 years, but I know if you look between the buildings that have been up for a long time in Chicago and you still see the mural, it's holding up pretty good. I don't think Weiland is painting with watercolors that are going to smear on the side of a building in a storm.
It is always amazing how those murals do hold up on sides of building. It is pretty incredible. But the area's World Cup organizing committee put out a statement and said that in place of Weiland's mural, new artwork is planned that, quote, captures this current historical moment and reflects the energy, unity, and global spirit surrounding the World Cup 2026. Also going on to say that a portion of the mural would be preserved. Well, it doesn't sound like a portion of the mural has been preserved at this point.
Part? Just the whale tail?
Right, considering that Weiland filed this lawsuit earlier this week in a U.S. district court, and he basically said that they did this without even notifying him even giving even asking for his consent. And he now is seeking $25 million in damages, and says the lawsuit says that the soccer's governing body, FIFA, and other defendants hastily and I can't even say the word this morning. Irrevocably, there we go, destroyed a civic landmark to promote the World Cup. Yeah. Just had to get my brain functioning there for a second. Now, FIFA, of course, Brian, says that they have nothing to do with this.
You
have to go.
I don't know anything about it.
Committee.
Sorry.
You have to go to the locals. That's what they're saying.
FIFA, you are the umbrella organization, so you're going to have to hold it. And there is a law that was passed, a federal law, to protect visual artists from destruction of publicly displayed works. So if you do a mural, and they don't, it's not like he showed up and did this mural 30 years ago without any consent from the city. They knew it was happening. They probably commissioned it. So they've got this. Well, that's protected. You can't just paint over it. And even if after 30 years, you take because you take it for granted, right? You've driven by it a million times. If you live in the Dallas area, you see it, you go, the whales, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's public art. You can't just take it down. You can't just paint over it.
I mean, to me, some of the best communities and some of the biggest events that I've ever been to actually celebrate what's already there with combining it with that particular event or future or whatever. I don't know why we always have to just automatically destroy things that have been there for decades.
Because
I
that's
feel like
old. Old is old. Jamie, nobody likes old. Nobody likes old people, old murals.
I like art, though, but I like
old
art.
Bread. I like art, too.
Art.
And the little town I used to live in, and I know we only got a minute, Parker. I'll make this as long as possible.
Snappy. Come on now.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a big thing because we were getting 3 murals in town, and they were putting them, they just said, and they turned out great, and it's a big deal. And even now I haven't lived there in a while, but if I go back through town and I see the murals, it reminds me of that time and the excitement around it, and it just, all of that makes me feel good. But we're not allowed to feel good unless you are winning the Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win contest, which is coming up after 7 o'clock. We'll give you your first word, so be there. We've got stuff you need to know and so much more coming up in the second hour. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 6:59 right now. Thank you so much for listening to the Civic Media Network.
Snappy enough for you? Right on.
I like it.
That was the one good part about. There were lots of good parts, but one of my favorite parts of living in Baraboo was it's a very artistic community. There's a
Okay.
lot of people who get very inspired by the bluffs and then come in for a visit, and then they just stay because they get so inspired by the nature and the bluffs. And so Baraboo has tons of public art all the time. There's murals
nice.
on a lot of the buildings, and they're historic murals too, which I love. There are always murals of people who have made Baraboo a better place.
Okay.
And so it's all these people lined up, and it's really, really cool. And there's 3 of them now, I believe. And then the year after COVID, when things started opening back up, because obviously they couldn't do the circus parade and things like that. You still couldn't have groupings. They got these fiberglass elephants, and then they had artists all around the area paint them, and then they auctioned them off. And so these elephants stayed living basically at people's houses or in businesses, and they're all hand painted, and they're super cool. And that was really fun. And then they took all of the money that they raised and spread it across several different nonprofits that had obviously were helping kids or food or whatever. So it was a really cool way to celebrate circus without being able to gather that particular year.
Nice.
And we had one of the elephants and then that was the other thing. They had all of the elephants at different locations around town. And then they used an app so that you could basically go on a scavenger hunt, find out about the artist, why they painted their elephant the way they did.
Yeah.
And so all of the elephants were out for like a month, I believe, all through July until they auctioned them all off. So it was really cool. So we had
I
one
like
of them
that
at our
kind of
location.
stuff. I just, it's fun, and it adds character. No
It
matter
does.
no matter where you're going to see it, it's and you stumble upon it because you think, I'm in this town. They're not.
Right.
Wow, look at it.
Yeah.
Wait, this is a series all over. All right, now I gotta check things out. I gotta walk
actually
around.
kind of wish that at some point, I know that the elephants were strictly because of COVID that year, but I kind of wish they'd do it again because it was really cool. And the artists, all of the artists had such different visions. I mean, Representative Karen DeSanto will be cemented on an elephant side for the rest of her life because one of them did like her face as a clown because she was a circus clown. So she is on one of the elephants that was auctioned. So she'll be cemented on it forever.
Well, you realize how creative people are during the pandemic. For Mardi Gras, you couldn't have the parades and stuff, so people were doing neighborhood Mardi Gras where they were decorating their house, and they call it house floats.
Yeah.
And as we drove through all these neighborhoods, and not like on St. Charles where the rich people live, they had companies do it. But then you'd get into neighborhoods where you could tell they were made, and some neighborhoods that were more artist friendly, they were a little more elaborate. But they were so cool and so creative. And it was like, oh, my God. And it didn't matter how much art experience you had or how little. People were going on. People really, when given the chance, are creative and want to participate and want to. And I know it's Mardi Gras, so everybody down there, that's culture.
Right.
You got to get involved. But it was still really cool to see.
But at that time, too, people had more time to get creative,
That's
right?
true.
You had more time to
What else
sit
are you
at home.
doing?
Yeah, you had time to sit there and be like, ooh, what can we do? But, and when it's part of your culture, though, I think it also helps. But it was really fun. And even though that year it sucked that we couldn't do the normal festivities, but the Baraboo Chamber did a really great job still being and working with Circus World to still have something that felt a little normal and fun, and people could still do on their own because nothing felt normal even that next year. Even that next summer, nothing still felt quite, you were still able to be outside a little bit more, but nobody was still able to group. And so things were still didn't feel quite normal, but it was fun. And we had one of the elephants outside the station and her name was Flora because all the elephants were named as well.
Oh, okay. They named them, or did the names get changed as the people took them?
The artist named them.
Okay.
The artist got to name the elephant. So we had Flora.
Flora.
And she was the prettiest little green elephant who looked like she was tromping through a garden. She had little rain boots on, which is the best. She was so cute.
I love the cows. We had the police horses. We had the fire hydrants. All kinds of stuff. Even my mom driving her to the shower the other day, we had to cut through the loop. And I was like, well, there's the Picasso. She's like, oh, yeah, they used to have the Chris Krindlemar. I said, they still do.
That's awesome.
But you're not
Did she have fun at the shower?
She had a ball.
That's awesome.
She loved it.
I was thinking about you this week, and I was like, I wonder if she's having a good time.
Yeah, no, I got her, I got her to her haircut, and then picked her up, and we got there, and yeah, she had a ball. And that was the other, because she was like, everybody knows I'm moving but me. I said, yeah, I wanted you to have fun at the shower.
Yeah, a little less than 10 seconds here.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us on today. You are listening, of course, to the Civic Media Network. It's 7:06 right now. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Well, it is time. Yes, it's our Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest. Every day through next week, Monday through Friday, of course. We're going to give you a chance to win $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize package. Every time you enter, you're in our grand prize drawing, eligible for a $250 in gas and another $250 in groceries. So what do I have to do, Brian? You have to listen to Jamie. She's going to tell you what to do.
All right, so get your Civic Media app ready to roll. If you haven't already downloaded that, remember you can get it for free in your Apple or your Google stores. And then you've got to text us the word that I'm about to give you, and the word this hour is park, P-A-R-K. Park is your word that needs to be texted in this hour so that you can qualify for all of the great prizes that Brian just nicely laid out. But again, park is your word, P-A-R-K. Text that word to us before 8 a.m. so that you are qualified. And remember, you are going to have multiple chances to qualify throughout the day. And the best part about this contest is that there's no limit on entries. Right?
Perfect.
So you can enter now, you can enter later this morning and throughout the day, and then it just ups the chances that you have at winning the cash and the prizes. So again, park is your word this hour, P-A-R-K. But we'll remind you throughout the morning. So
yes,
that you can
we'll remind you, and then there'll be a new word at 9 o'clock. But this word is good until 8. So park, yes. P-A-R-K, park.
Oh, look at all of you. Thank you, everybody already texting in this morning.
Nicely done.
You guys are on top of it.
Now you know that, but there's other stuff you need to know.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
Well, the first piece of you need to know, a new report warns that about 1 in 4 Wisconsin child care providers could close or significantly reduce services when pandemic-era child care funding expires on June 30th. The funding helps stabilize child care centers during and after COVID, allowing providers to hire staff, avoid larger tuition increases, and reverse years of declining child care availability. Nearly 75% of producers say they'll likely raise tuition if the funding disappears, potentially costing families an additional $1,300 to $2,600 per child each year. Excuse me. Providers say they're already struggling with rising costs, and some families have left child care programs because they can no longer afford tuition, forcing some parents to leave the workforce. So there's the vicious cycle we get into. Child care advocates warn that without permanent state funding, child care could become increasingly unaffordable for middle-class families, making it harder for parents to work, and worsening Wisconsin's workforce shortages. Ruth Schmidt from Wisconsin Early Childhood Association is going to join us tomorrow morning to talk all about this and how dire this situation actually is. But imagine having to pay another $1,300 to $2,600 a year.
I can't imagine. I don't know how families are doing it now. I mean, we've heard from some of our listeners about what they're paying each and every month for childcare. We've had some listeners literally tell us it's the most expensive thing they pay every month, and not even close to their mortgage at this point. So,
and you can't blame the childcare centers.
No.
Prices have gone up. You have to hire workers. You have to,
it's crazy.
Yeah, you have to be well equipped to take care of other people's kids.
Yeah.
And that
Turns
costs
out.
money. And so where does the help come from? We'll find out tomorrow when we talk to Ruth.
I'm very excited to have Ruth on so we can get into this conversation tomorrow. In other stuff you need to know, taking a look at Madison schools, because they've created a tiebreaker system for students competing for automatic admission under Wisconsin's new Wisconsin Guarantee Program. The plan still needs state approval, however. The program guarantees admission to most UW campuses for students in the top 10% of their graduating class, while UW-Madison guarantees admission to students in the top 5%. Because many Madison students have identical GPAs and the district needs a way to break ties while staying within the state's strict percentage limits, if approved, tiebreakers would be used in this order: ACT scores, number of college-level courses completed, your AP or your dual credit classes, and then attendance records based on the fewest unexcused absences. The new system would begin with the class of 2027, and several other Wisconsin school districts are pursuing similar waiver requests because they face the same issue with GPA ties. GPA, the ACT scores, these are words that I still recognize, so I wasn't too much into the Stone Age to understand how it all worked. But
I still recognize all the words. It's sometimes trying to figure out what sets these kids apart. It's so slim, because if you're in that top 5%, you're pretty strong. You're solid. You're a solid student. And I remember with, Molly trying to get in different places, and it's, they've got you might have higher ACT scores and higher GPA, but somebody knows somebody, or somebody does some extracurricular that they might be looking for, or
it's competitive.
It
is
crazy
competitive. It's depending on what school you're going to, what you're pursuing in higher education. It is very, very competitive.
I'm sure had the environment been as competitive as it is now, I would not have been accepted to most of the places I was accepted to.
This is why our students need more mental health. If you joined us last hour in their school districts, because a lot of them are facing these types of pressures too.
Yeah, no matter how good you are you good enough?
Yes.
All right, one of the next pieces that you need to know: a meteor streaked across the skies over New England Saturday, creating loud sonic booms that rattled homes and sparked thousands of social media posts from confused residents. NASA says the space rock was about 5 feet wide, weighed roughly as much as an elephant, and entered the Earth's atmosphere at 42,000 miles an hour. The meteor broke apart above New England, releasing energy equal to about 230 tons of TNT, which caused the booming sound people heard across the region. NASA confirmed the object was a natural meteor, not a satellite or a piece of space junk. After traveling about 26 miles through the atmosphere, the remaining fragments likely fell into Cape Cod Bay off the coast of Massachusetts. Then there was video footage on the news last night of a meteor streaking across the Midwest sky for about 14 seconds. It was crazy. The sky is falling, Chicken Little, and we're gonna get knocked unconscious by it.
I don't know.
Get a helmet, Parker.
This is why anybody who always is like, space is so cool. It is really cool, but this is the type of stuff falling from space that actually kind of scares me. But 42,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
I can't even fathom something the size of an elephant streaking through the sky at 42,000.
And then exploding.
Right?
Bam.
That's true craziness. Science is pretty cool, though, when you think about it.
It
The fact that it's
is.
just floating up there right now, too, right?
Yeah, just waiting.
Yeah, it's just
watching us.
It's
the other
literally
aliens.
just waiting.
Terrifying. What's the big story, Jamie?
Well, the big story is more on voting rights. And it turns out that a Dane County judge is now involved because they heard some arguments in a lawsuit that could actually expand voting access for Wisconsin residents with print disabilities, including many blind and visually impaired voters who currently struggle to complete their paper absentee ballots independently. Now, this particular lawsuit was brought by the Disability Rights of Wisconsin and the League of Women Voters. They're arguing that requiring voters to rely on a spouse, caregiver, or assistant to fill out an absentee ballot takes away their right to cast a private and secret vote. I mean, and that makes sense because we're always told that our votes are private. We don't have to share those, but then if you do have a disability, we don't actually have a way for those people to vote without somebody being in the booth with them.
And isn't that one of the big gripes that these election deniers have, that somebody else is getting ballots and filling them out? So if you're, for that alone, they should be, oh, no, we have to make sure everybody has a chance to fill out their own ballot. Because, if I'm one of those conspiracy nut jobs who say the elections are stolen, well, what if I'm visually impaired and I tell my husband to put down my Trump vote and he doesn't like Trump, and so he goes, oh, yes, honey, I put your Trump vote in, and I voted for anybody. I voted for the meteor the size of an elephant.
It's a true test of honesty and trust, isn't it? If you're going in those particular cases. But for people who support this, they literally want voters with print disabilities to be able to receive, read, complete, and return absentee ballots electronically using screen readers, speech synthesizers, and other accessibility tools. They also say that this would be a very reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I was thinking about that yesterday as I was reading through the story before I even got there. That's exactly what popped into my head. I was like, but what about the Americans with Disabilities Act? Shouldn't this be something that we already do and it shouldn't be a question?
It doesn't sound like a hard fix.
No.
And you're right, though. It's when you hear it, you go, why wasn't we're really not doing this? We do everything else, which we should, but that's not the point. The point is, why hasn't somebody thought of this before? It's like, wait, if you're visually impaired and you can't read the ballot, what do we do?
The fact that this is just now a lawsuit is kind of insane, actually, when you think about how long the Americans with Disabilities Act has been around and the fact that this suit is being brought by a disability rights organization. Now, there was one plaintiff in this particular case. He's a blind Wisconsin voter, and he says he can't independently read or mark a paper absentee ballot. And a lot of times he faces challenges when he's traveling to polling places as well, especially during bad weather. Now, there was already a lower court involved in this particular case who ordered Wisconsin to allow electronic delivery of absentee ballots before the 2024 election. That ruling, though, was paused after an appeal by Republican legislative leaders. The proposed system would still have required voters to return completed ballots by mail or in person. Why do we, again, I know I ask this question all the time. At this point, it's rhetorical, but why would you want it to be harder for voters to vote? I mean, just because it doesn't
because
mean
they might not vote for me.
Well, they might, or they might vote for you. Not, I mean,
but what if they don't?
I guess that's a chance you're going to take. But at the same time, I don't know why we're making it so difficult for people to actually vote. And by the way, this is a big case. If you're listening to this today and you're like, it doesn't really bother me, just remember that 110,000 Wisconsin voters with print disabilities would be affected by this, which would ultimately determine whether those electronic absentee voting systems become an accessibility in the future. So, interesting.
It is very interesting. It's one of those things that makes you stop and say, wait, all this progress we've made for people with disabilities, and then it seems like one of the simplest ones we just have maybe not thought of. But somebody thought of this before. Somebody had to.
Again, though, it always comes down to me for accessibility and being able to vote. This shouldn't ever have to. Why do these things have to go to courts of law? I mean, this is just a basic principle that we should have in this country. We should be able to vote. It doesn't matter what the disability is. We should be able to vote as citizens of this country.
I agree. As I'm thinking it, and we don't have time to go through all the scenarios, but I'm just, all right. How do we do it? If we mail, say, a Braille ballot or that, well, the people still have to get it back somehow. So all right, there's challenge on that one. There's so many challenges, but there's a lot of smart people who could figure it out.
Right?
Have we heard? Is Frank alive? Are we doing Swipe or Stay?
I think he's here.
He's looming.
He's
right.
Oh, he's looming. Yes. I love that. He's looming. All right.
Looming.
And we'll get a quick rabbit update,
it's
too.
The voice.
She's Jamie Martinson. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
The voice from beyond.
Looming.
Did you have to go feed the bunny this morning?
Did you oversleep? What happened?
No, I've been backstage.
All right. You don't pop on before the show?
I didn't.
I know you didn't.
I like to keep you on your toes, Brian. I want to see if you worry about me.
Well, I thought maybe you just overslept.
No.
Or you were out having a rabbit feast. Eating some
the
Hassenpfeffer after you trapped it.
Also, I think here's the bunny update. I think there's 2 now.
See?
Because there was one at
that
5:30.
there's a buffet.
It's a husband
But
and a
usually
wife.
there's really only one at 7:30.
Okay.
But I went because I saw him sitting there at 5:30, and I said, "What the hell are you doing here right now?
Were you
This
talking
isn't your
to
time."
it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, your
Of course.
reservation is until 7:30?
Yeah, he's just
Can't see
staring
you
at
till
me.
early.
all the parties
Yeah.
here.
You're a little early, sir.
So I was like, "Whatever, I'll fill it up now." So he eats. I'm watching him eat. I walk away, go do something. I go get dinner. I eat dinner. It's 7:30 now, and I look out, and the bunny's sitting there, and there isn't much food left. And I was like, he looks kind of different.
In what way?
I think he was a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's your bunny. Yeah.
I think
you
that's
tag 'em?
my bunny.
Can you get like little collars to put on
You
them so you
know-
can see?
Oh.
A wristband or something?
Can we
I'm-
do we have tranquilizer darts? So you can knock
Not
him out for a
shooting the bunnies.
Just knock him out for a second.
just-
so
What
you
the
can
hell's
tag him.
wrong with you?
Not to kill
knock
them.
'em
We
out
want
so
to
you can
tag
get
them.
the
This is
collar
a
on, and
science
that'll be
project
No,
now.
no. You two are sick.
Well, then you can tell how many are there, or if this one's just become a glutton.
Or we could just observe.
Good.
I think you need to take really, really careful notice of all the spots on it so you can identify
have you
them.
told your dad that there might be 2? I mean, we know in
I
retirement.
almost called him yesterday.
Okay. We know in retirement that he's looking for hobbies, so now he can,
So what are you going to do now?
We,
Put out food twice?
I don't know.
10
Well,
seconds.
we'll see what the situation is today.
Oh, my gosh.
Could be a one-off thing, but
I don't know. Once the word gets out that you got an old country buffet in your backyard.
Let's break out of the bubble and see what's happening out there in pop culture. It's Swipe or Stay on Daybreak.
7:22 right now. Hopefully you're having a great start to your Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today on the Civic Media Network. It is time for Swipe or Stay, and this is where we put the politics aside. We dive into the world of celebrities and sports figures and things that are not necessarily politically related with our senior producer, Frank. How are you today?
I am good. We were if you want to be updated on the bunny saga, we'll talk about that more between
Okay.
breaks. But
All right.
So watch
we've got
on
a
the
good
stream.
Swipe or Stay today.
All right, we're excited.
Good. Here's how it's going to work if you're new to the show. I'm going to read some pop culture headlines. Brian and Jamie are going to have to decide whether to stay or swipe on to the next story. Parker gets to be the tiebreaker if they can't decide. So story number 1 today. CBS loses another high-profile employee.
Oh, I've been following this story. I know it.
Stay. Yeah.
So CBS News has fired veteran 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley just a day after he had a clash with the show's new executive producer. The reason for the firing was Pelley voiced his displeasure with the hiring of said executive producer, Nick Bilton, at the meeting where they introduced Nick Bilton.
Awkward.
During the clash, Pelly reportedly questioned why Bilton would even accept the role, given the resistance he was facing from longtime staffers. Wow. Afterwards, he was sent a letter leading up to his termination, saying that it was from the executive producer saying he was really excited to get to work together and hoped that they could hash things out, but clearly you have no intention of doing so. And then sent the formal termination letter.
Wow.
Performative hysteria or performative cruelty or something like that was one of the words that the executive producer used.
Yeah.
To just it's on. Yeah. I mean, there's audio of it too. It's Scott Pelly did not hold back. No. But good. It's nice to have that. It's nice to have that kind of security where you can go, I don't need this job, and you are ruining things, and I'm going to speak my mind, and I'm going to rest on my reputation because you're going to have to pay for yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loved it. Next,
never ends with CBS.
No, I was going to say sad state over there. Yeah.
Hip hop artist says they won't quit on America 250.
Swipe.
I'll stay.
Parker, swipe or stay, baby.
I'm scared. Stay.
Come on.
Oh, man. Sure. Just about every other artist has dropped out of performing at the Great American State Fair this summer. But have no fear, everyone. Vanilla Ice says he is not leaving.
Woo, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
In an interview with Fox News, Vanilla Ice said, I'm reinforced. I'm here. I am committed. Once you commit, you don't quit, man. And that's how I am.
That's Hammer is too legit to quit, not Vanilla Ice.
It is Hammer. He stole that. But yeah, Brian, I think you nailed it. I mean, Vanilla doesn't have his home restoration show anymore.
Nope.
And at some point, you gotta have some money in the bank. So I'm guessing that's probably what this is.
He went on to say, I'm happy that Trump's putting this on. I'm honored that he invited me. I've played for him many times. They're great friends of mine. This comes after saying he would perform for anybody, including Vladimir Putin. So, Vanilla really Ice, congratulations on getting that money that you need very much.
I thought you were going to talk about the second half of the C&C Music Factory, who recorded a speech while sitting on the toilet.
No, this is Vanilla Ice.
That was great video. That guy, but I don't think you could play any of it.
I probably can't.
No,
you could not.
You know, when I look up these stories, sometimes I look at stuff and I go, I can't do anything because of copyright issues. And then there's some things I go, I just legally can't play this, period.
Yeah. Well, that would have been one of them. All right, what's next on the hit parade?
Former NHL star reports shots fired by neighbor.
Oh, I'll stay.
Stay.
Good, because this one's pretty good. So, interesting story. Yesterday, there was a report from former NHL instigator Sean Avery's residence that there were shots fired while he was getting work done on his house. LAPD responded to a call at Sean's home for criminal threats around 10 a.m. The caller stated the suspect was a neighbor who had been harassing and threatening the contractors. The caller told officers this had been an ongoing issue. Shots were fired, hitting one of the contractor's tires. The neighbor is now in custody, and that's all we know right now.
Wow.
Sean Avery and his wife were not home during this.
Wow. Frank, Lynn points out, and this is a good clarification, Freedom 250 is the president's debacle. Yes. America 250 is a decade-old program that is run by a bipartisan congressional group.
Yes.
Freedom 250 is Trump's money grab with, merch.
My apologies.
So, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Lynn, for the clarification, even though Frank hates to be corrected.
It's the same thing. Anyway.
Oh, not the same thing at all, but go ahead.
Taylor Swift wedding invite updates.
I know I'm not getting one, so I'm just to be, curmudgeonly, I'm going to swipe.
Swipe on this one.
Ted Lasso star hints at on-set tension.
Ooh, stay.
Stay.
Oh, now we're staying. Okay.
Yeah. Now
Hannah
we're staying.
Waddingham said that her and Jason Sudeikis have very much a love-hate relationship.
What?
Oh, interesting.
Oh, man.
During an interview with Variety, Waddingham talked about Sudeikis' infamous rewrite process when shooting the show, saying he hears it in the room, and then we tweak everything. With that boy, you've got to roll with the punches. He and I have an ongoing love-hate relationship that he changes everything last minute.
Wow.
She does go on to say that the cast texts or calls each other every week. So despite the frustration, I think everybody's okay. Sudeikis is just difficult with rewrites.
I love that show.
That's it for
And I
Swipe
love
or
Great
Say.
Hannah
show.
Waddingham. She's, wow. Very talented woman. Well, thank you, Frank. It's very good. I'm sorry you're not getting invited to Taylor Swift's wedding.
I'm not.
All right. Should governments be able to block controversial figures from entering the country? We'll talk about that. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian. She's Jamie. This is the Civic Media Network.
All right.
The reason I put the Taylor Swift one was for Jamie. Carly Kloss got invited.
Who's Carly Clark?
Interesting.
We just talked about her
Yes.
having major beef and a huge feud between the two. They used to be best friends.
Yes.
Oh,
And then
okay.
they did not like each other for years. And now Carly Kloss has been invited. Sources say they have mended their relationship.
I was going to say, I wonder what the beef was. Was it the fact that Carly Kloss is married to Jared Kushner's brother?
Probably had something to do with it.
That's what I have no idea if that's what it is, but that's what I'm maybe guessing.
And then on the
Does
flip
he have a name?
side,
Because everybody just calls him Jared Kushner's brother.
that's all I know him as.
Okay.
That's who he is.
All right.
I mean,
Sorry.
what else do you want to be? Miles Teller and Kaylee Teller were not invited because now they have a feud.
Yeah.
There's a beef with the Tellers?
There's beef,
Yeah.
apparently.
Why? What's happening?
I don't know.
Oh, boy. Taylor has
He
a
was-
lot of beef.
He was actually very good in the Michael Jackson movie.
What did he play?
Michael's private attorney that he hired after
Really?
he went solo. Yeah. And broke off from Joe.
Huh.
The guy who basically had to tell Joe Jackson that Michael Jackson was not part of the group anymore, which was not an easy task.
Oh, well. Sorry,
Which-
brother.
It was actually the first thing, too, that Michael Jackson had the attorney do. Hired him and was like, oh, and by the way, you need to tell my dad that he's not my manager anymore. Thanks. Yikes. Oh, my goodness. So, do the buns get the same thing to eat every night? Do they get a varied menu? Do you have to cook for them?
It is not varied. It is literally
Okay.
just, I think it's like crushed like feed corn.
Do they get carrots at all?
No.
Cabbage?
Nope.
Lettuce?
That's
Wow.
it. One thing on the menu. He loves it. Keeps coming
Okay.
back. I don't know.
Obviously. Now you have two. Now the whole bunny family.
It's expected. You don't, like, it's like going into your favorite restaurant and they change the menu.
Sure.
Yeah,
You don't
you
want that. He
No.
comes to the picnic table for one item.
All right.
And as long as you deliver. But, you
Keeps
could
coming
be the
back.
fun uncle as you described yourself and, throw a little bonus in there, a little dessert. A little bit of carrot afterward.
little cabbage.
It's going to change expectations, though.
Right. But then your dad has to deal with it.
I'm like the backup quarterback. My job is to hand the ball off, not
Imagine
to do
one
anything
manager?
crazy. Yeah.
One day your dad just comes to the patio door and there's bunnies just staring at him because he
I
hasn't
wouldn't be
given up their
surprised.
cabbage.
Well, if now there are two because somehow the word is getting out,
Or it's Mrs. Bun.
Could be.
what's on your hat, Frank? Looks like a beer mug from here, but
It's
I'm
an
sure
old
it's not.
Michigan logo.
It's a
Oh,
sailor
okay.
hat.
Oh, there it is,
yeah.
the sailor hat. All right.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I
Why
like
was that
the
a
picture.
thing back in the day?
I was just gonna say, bring it back though.
You like what?
I like the
sailor hat
picture of the
logos.
rabbit coming early.
Yes.
Just
Maybe that
Sitting
rabbit
in
is
the
older.
shade.
Maybe it's just an old rabbit that likes to eat early bird special.
Oh.
it very well could be.
Had to be in bed
point.
by the
I can't
time
wait
the
till
other one was eating.
7:30. What are you, nuts?
It's my bedtime.
I mean, I'll be watching my stories and hiding from the
Right?
coyotes.
My programs.
My programs.
Yes.
It is funny when they start
discount.
when it's recurring like that. Please keep us updated.
Of course. That's what I'm here for.
You're going to be super boring next week when you're back at your own house and
Yeah,
not
you
feeding
are.
the bunny.
I
I
hope
want
they
you to
cut.
start putting. Can you start putting out corn feed in your backyard on a little picnic table just to see what you attract?
No, we have people that live above us. I think that might be a radical move. And they have a bigger dog. And if something happens to the bunny,
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you use the bunny as bait for their big
Oh,
dog,
no.
that'd be horrible.
I don't even have a big dog in Aspen. That would be bait for Aspen. We have bunnies who live underneath our patio slab, and so they hang out in the backyard a lot. Oh my God.
Right. We've got 15 seconds till we're back.
Want to join in on the conversation? Call or text 855-75-CIVIC. Now back to Brian and Jamie.
It's 7:35 right now. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is the Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest, and we are still taking qualifiers for this hour. You have about 25 more minutes to get the word to us using the Civic Media app. It's your chance to win $100 in daily prizes, maybe even a Wisconsin Dells prize package, and then every entry also puts you into the grand prize drawing for $250 in gas and another $250 in groceries. And we've had a lot of people enter already this morning, Brian, but there's lots more time.
There is more time, and it's very, very simple. As Jamie said, get your Civic Media app and text this word. The word for this hour is park, P-A-R-K, park. Park. Go to the park. So you type that in, text it to us on the Civic Media app, and you are entered. Man, you've got time. And don't worry. You get this one in, 9 o'clock, there's going to be a new word. Listen all day. Enter as many times as you want. Because every time you enter, even if you don't win the daily prize, like Jamie said, you're qualified for the grand prize, and that's $250 in gas, $250 in groceries. That's $500 total if you can't do the math yourself. That's why I'm here. Simple math.
It's early. I get it if you can't do the math. But yes, text the word, and we'll give you a couple more reminders before 8 o'clock. But park, as Brian said, is your word, P-A-R-K. And look
yeah, we're
on
getting a lot of
command.
entries.
Look at you guys are so
That
good
is
and
great.
so smart. Thank you. Thank you for listening this morning. We appreciate it.
Good luck. I mean, I wish everybody, this is hokey to say, but I do wish everybody could get $100. But
right?
Every day, all through. So what's today? Wednesday? We got 2 more days this week and 5 days next week. You got a lot of chances to win all day, not just on our show, but yeah, do it. All right, Jamie, I saw you had brought this story, and I'm not really familiar with it, so I'm going to let you run with it because I saw the headlines and I read the story. I'm not familiar with these guys who are at the center of it, though.
Well, if you listen to any, and Frank actually kind of put me onto this story, and then I started doing a little research on it. It is interesting, and it goes back to the show Young Turks. If you watch on YouTube, it's a podcast, right? And they've got a huge following, about 2.8 million Twitch followers. It's a very progressive political commentary, and obviously, if you're that progressive, there's a lot of criticism of the current president, Israel, and the war in Gaza. So British authorities have barred the 2 commentators from Young Turks, Hassan Piker and Cenk Uygur, from entering the United Kingdom and actually canceled their travel authorization shortly before they were scheduled to speak at an event in London. The UK Home Office said that the decision was based on concerns that their presence may not be conducive to the public good, a legal standard the government can use when deciding whether foreign visitors can actually enter a country. Now, Piker is actually a Turkish-American. He's actually Turkish-American. Okay. The controversy, and Uygur, I should say, is the founder and the host of Young Turks. Now, the controversy centrals in part on comments that Piker made about Hamas. During a podcast appearance from earlier this year, he said he would vote for Hamas over Israel as a lesser evil choice. Of course, those comments, as you can imagine, drew a lot of criticism because Hamas is a terrorist organization and has been designated so by both the United States and the United Kingdom. And now they want to get into the country. They want to go do this speaking engagement, and British lawmakers who supported the decision argued that someone perceived as expressing support for a proposed terrorist organization should not be given a platform in the country. In fact, one of the Labour MPs said that there was no reason to welcome speakers who promote division or appear sympathetic to extremist groups. So it's an interesting story, and with all of their online followers, this is getting a lot of press, and the support for Hamas, we saw that during the 2024 election, especially amongst college campuses across the country. It was part of what the Republican Party condemned Kamala Harris for, because there wasn't a full out her saying, don't do this right away. This is a terrorist organization. She didn't do that right away, so there was a lot of controversy mixed into the 2024 election over the non-statements. And so now we're seeing the ramifications of that in England and, trying to get into the country.
It's one of those things where while I disagree with any stifling of opinions, England has different rules and laws than we do. Now, and I would be hypocritical if I said, oh, they should let them in and let them speak.
Sure.
And then if I thought, well, if they were stopping some ultra right-wing person from doing it, and I was against that. So it's a tough line, but I think we can't judge England by our standards. Right. If they were coming here, I mean, I know they're American, but let's just say they were English citizens and they were coming here to talk, and people didn't like their commentary. I'd say, well, then either don't go, don't listen, or go and listen and see what they have to say. Actually see what they have to say rather than what has been reported. Or go and protest that they're there. All of those things are fine, but we can't do that because it's not our country.
Right.
I don't, I think reading that statement, or reading the quote kind of that he would vote for Hamas as a lesser evil, I'm sure that's missing a lot of context because we didn't hear the whole episode. Right. Some things are said hyperbolically, some things, and maybe he meant it seriously. Sure. But either way, that's his opinion. Now, just like I say here, and free speech does not mean free from consequences. This is the consequence. You don't have to like it. And I know, their supporters are not going to like it. But that's the way it goes. Yep. Again, if it was here and the government was shutting them down, that would be a violation of their First Amendment rights.
Yes, absolutely. And so the question this morning, and the U.S. is not innocent in shutting down, and we'll get into that in a second. But the question for you this morning is, should governments be able to block these controversial figures, or does it violate their free speech? 1-855-752-4842, 1-855-75-CIVIC. If you have an opinion on this, either in text or a phone call, we'd love to hear from you. Now, of course,
I was going to say, we have to draw a distinction, I think, right, between a native citizen of that country and somebody coming into that country, a visitor to that country. Do we not? Isn't it different? Because they're here. Nobody stopped them from saying whatever they wanted here in America. This is their country. This is where they're citizens. I think there has to be a distinction to say, okay, if I'm going to another country with different rules, they have different responsibilities, different rights than we do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So should our government do it? Absolutely not. Can another government do it to our citizens? Yeah, unfortunately, they have that. They have that right. But our government should never be quashing free speech.
Right. And
of its citizens.
I've got to make a correction. We've got a fan of Young Turks chiming in over on our YouTube chat. The correct pronunciation, I've seen it both ways. He is saying it's Uyghur. He watches the show, so I'll take the pronunciation I'm getting over on YouTube. I saw people pronouncing it both ways online. So we'll go with Uyghur this morning since this is a fan of the show.
I like that. I like that. I've heard it both ways. And I'm sure you have.
I've heard both people on all over talk about it in different ways, and I've heard different people pronounce it differently. But Piker and Uyghur argue that this isn't really about Hamas. They say that this is essentially their criticism of Israel and the war in Gaza. Now, I mentioned that the United States is not innocent in doing this either, right? There's actually a long history in this country of denying visas or entry to foreign nationals over controversial speech, political activism, or statements made online. And immigration law, interestingly enough, gives the federal government in this country broad authority to block entry based on national security, foreign policy, concerns, or ideological grounds. I mean, there have been cases that have played out in the press. There was an Islamic scholar, Tariq Ramadan, who was barred from entering the United States after accepting a teaching position at Notre Dame. There was a Palestinian activist who faced travel restrictions and visa issues tied to his advocacy work. More recently, there were several European digital rights and free speech advocates who were reportedly targeted with visa restrictions after disputes over online speech and content moderation. There's also been reports, Brian, of travelers being questioned, detained, or denied entry after border officials reviewed social media posts or messages critical of U.S. government policies. So the U.S. government is not innocent in doing this sort of blockade, essentially, either, if they feel like there is some harm to public safety.
And again, if it's keeping people out who are not citizens, that's one thing. If I'm traveling abroad and I come home and they look at my social media, you can't do that. No.
Right.
It's really difficult for me because I want to hold other countries to our standards and our citizens' rights, and that's not always the case. And I do, as much as I find it distasteful that our government is doing that too, but in a weird way, I can understand it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I could say, okay, we've got, not that we have enough dissent at home. There's never enough dissent if things are wrong. But you know what I mean? We don't need, we can talk about ourselves. We don't need you coming in from the outside to talk about us. It's like, you never talk against the family.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm an American and I'm overseas and I speak out, I still should be allowed to come home because it's still my right to speak. You can't stop me. And if that government didn't arrest me for agitating, then leave me alone.
And I think that this is interesting with the reach that the Young Turks have too, right? Because they're able to talk about this to a much broader audience than maybe others might be able to.
Sure.
And Britain is defending this, in case you're wondering, by saying that their decision is because of the tensions in the country right now over anti-Semitism, pro-Palestinian activism, and then, of course, the public debate over the Israel-Gaza war. The UK government has recently taken a much tougher stance toward individuals that it believes might actually contribute to extremism, the hate speech, and public unrest.
Are they now? You can tell me that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but are they known? I've never heard the Young Turks. I've heard of the Young Turks. Are they usually provocateurs of hate speech and anti-Semitism and things like that, or are they just opposed to?
I believe it's just an opposition, right, to some of the actions by Israel. And if you are a fan of Young Turks, please chime in. I don't get to watch the show often. I've watched a few episodes, so I'm not a regular viewer like some of you might be. So please correct us if we're wrong. I believe it's just an opposition.
855-75-CIVIC. If you want to jump in quick, you can text or you can call, because if there's a difference between hate speech and criticism. Right. And if the UK is labeling them as somebody who might be coming in promoting hate speech and anti-Semitism, that makes more sense. If they're just critical of Israel, Well, there's a lot of people critical of Israel. A lot of people critical of Trump. A lot of people critical of a lot of things. There's a huge difference. And so to not take that into effect is dangerous. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost Flag Day. That's good news, right? Especially if you're in Appleton, we'll tell you all about it. And if you have that information on the Young Turks, let us know.
Please.
It is Daybreak on the Civic Media Network. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It's 7:48. You're listening to Civic Media.
All right, clear.
You know, Frank actually flagged that one for me, and I was like, interesting. Okay.
I forgot about the Young Turks.
They are they grow.
I know sort of Hassan.
I just know all the young dudes.
Tom in Hartford asking Gary saying they are not hate speech provocateurs. Thank you.
Yeah,
Gary,
I didn't know. I just I was honestly asking.
Yeah, I've listened to and watched maybe a probably couple dozen episodes of the Young Turks, but it's not on my regular. But I have a lot of people in my orbit who are really big fans. So
I was this many days old when I found out they were actually Turkish. Well, actually, I found it out yesterday when I read the story, but I just thought it was like a hip name, the Young Turks.
Yeah.
You know,
no, they're
actually Turkish.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Tom
again
was asking if we were going to cover any of the elections from around all of that. There were so many.
There were so many
primaries
and
it was mostly the states that you knew what the states were going to actually do.
yeah, I mean, the big thing, the big switch of Trump's the Trump guy in Iowa not getting in, and but Spencer Pratt being the second place.
I know. Yeah.
But it also didn't, and I won't say this on the air because, all I do is bash progressives, I guess. But the progressive socialist candidate in L.A. did not give him a distant third.
Very much against the Israeli government and the genocide of the Palestinians, not the Jewish people. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, thank you. That's, again, the more you know.
Right.
Young Turks Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate it, Gary. Yeah, it's just never been on my. I don't know if I'm like the right age group for some reason for Young Turks. I don't know. I appreciate. I've never disliked anything I've heard. I just don't.
I listen to the old Romanians. Is that not a show that the kids are into?
I'm afraid I haven't heard of that one.
They have like 18 followers.
Oh, I could be number 19.
Yeah. I don't actually follow them. I didn't want to give them a swelled head. Mr. Plow King, crazy dialing this morning.
Yes. Showing Frank the photo of his Illinois hat. And
all right, we got 15 seconds till we're back.
Across the state of Wisconsin, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie is back.
7:52 right now, and Brian, I will say that you have 8 minutes left to accelerate your summer with the multi-state text-to-win contest. The first word of the hour has come and will be going in 8 minutes, and park is your word. P-A-R-K. That is the word you need to text us using your Civic Media app. Some really great prizes involved, though.
Yeah, you could win $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize pack every day. We're giving those away. And then the grand prize, which you are entered in, even if you don't win the daily prize, you're entered in the grand prize drawing for $250 in gas and $250 in groceries. I was just entering on all my burner accounts.
There you go.
So this is I am stacking the deck. I need a side hustle, and
That's
cheating
right.
the system is my side hustle.
I mean, right now, though,
Probably shouldn't have said that
$500
in
in gas
public.
and groceries is not a bad deal.
No,
I love it.
if I could get $250 in gas
Right?
and another $250 in groceries, I would be a happy, happy man.
Yes. So park one more time. That is your word, and get that in before 8 o'clock. PARK is the word we need using your Civic Media app. So good luck to everybody who's entered, and thank you for all of the entries so far this morning. You guys are
glad
awesome.
you're listening. We're glad you're participating. I'll be honest. I pay attention to Flag Day only to put my flag out. I know,
Right.
Today's Flag Day. Let me make sure I have my flag out. But if you live in Appleton, you know that's not the case. Appleton goes big on Flag Day. The 75th anniversary of Appleton's Flag Day Parade is going to take place in downtown Appleton Saturday, June 13th. It was first organized in 1950 by the Appleton Elks Club. It's recognized as the nation's oldest Flag Day parade. Who knew? Right there in Appleton.
That's so cool. It's very, very cool. And if you want to go to this parade and be a little part of history, 75 years of a parade is pretty darn special.
It's pretty good.
It's going to step off at 2 o'clock near State Street and College Avenue. The route this year has been condensed for some safety reasons, interestingly
Cryptic.
enough.
What kind of safety reasons
I'm
in
not
Appleton?
sure. If you're in Appleton, please let us know what these safety reasons are.
What's going on over there?
I'm going to wonder if there's a little road construction or something. But the theme of the parade this year is Stars, Stripes, and New Beginnings. And it's going to feature nearly 20 musical units, including Quantico Marine Band, Navy Band Great Lakes, the 484th Army Band, the 1st Brigade Band, Americanos Alumni Association, the 2/5 Party Band, Big Top Brass, Elite Striders, and the Badger Band, which of course features members of the University of Wisconsin Band. So very, very awesome. And of course, there's going to be some local marching bands involved. We always love to watch them. The Appleton Public High Schools will be part of this. The Valley Troubadours, the New Horizons, Lakeside Lutheran High School, the Lutheran Vanguard, and Appleton City Band is all going to be part of it. So music, and we're going to have a little party in Appleton at the 75th parade. I love it.
Yeah, and they're doing a pre-parade concert by the 484th Army Band in Houdini Plaza, and then the 1st Brigade Band, a Civil War era band from Watertown, is going to be there. Then the annual Pride Festival starts with a promenade on College Street at 11:30, so that's before the warm-up, and then the Pride festivities will continue at Jones Park all day. So Appleton is the place to be on the 13th.
I love this. This is going to be a really good time. So if you're in the area or you just want to hear a whole lot of really great marching bands, I guess this is what you have to do.
Is Flag Day, are parades on Flag Day a big thing, or just because it is in Appleton, and they, like I said, 75th anniversary of their parade, so that's cool. I don't remember ever here's how I judge. Did Molly have to march in a parade on that day when she was in marching band? And there was never a Flag Day parade, and they marched in all kinds of parades.
Sure.
And I love watching high school bands because everybody looks miserable in their heavy uniforms on a 95-degree day, walking down the street in those shiny black patent leather marching shoes. Yeah.
Can I tell you a fun little story? And again, this will go back to my Baraboo roots only because I know this. The marching band in Baraboo actually has 2 uniforms. They have their shiny, traditional march, and then they also get to wear clowns costumes too for certain occasions.
Stop it.
Yes, and
I love that.
The circus parade will be marching through Baraboo streets also on June 13th. So plan wisely,
How do they
folks.
march in those big shoes, though?
They don't have
You'd
big
think
shoes.
they'd be tripping all over each other.
They wear regular white sneakers, but they have like the big, they have a wig.
That's
and
hilarious.
They have like it's a tradition, and they look amazing, and it sets them apart. So
because that's Circus Parade Day, the 13th.
Yes. So there's.
How am I going to get from Appleton to Baraboo?
I know there is so much happening on the 13th. Really, honestly, over the next couple of weekends in the state of Wisconsin, I'm telling you, if you can't find something to do, you're really not trying hard enough, because there is so much going on over the next couple of weekends throughout this entire state. And we'll talk about more of it throughout the week, but really, honestly, you will not be for a lack of things, because every community has really great festivals. There's parades happening. It's going to be a really good time throughout the state. So please partake in some of these fun events. And I love the ones that have this much history behind them. I mean, 75 years is a crazy long time to be having a parade. So,
and I've said this before, I am not other than Mardi Gras, I am not a big parade guy, but I do appreciate the fact that all the work that goes into the parades, and I've sat through all the parades that as I watched Molly march, and even before that we would go to the parade. It's fun, and and this one has a special meaning. I'd love to. Maybe next year we'll talk to somebody from the Appleton Elks Club, find out how this is the thing. Oh, Mark, very, very worried that it might be. I don't think it's a Happy Birthday Trump parade.
I think it's just a traditional parade, and
they've been doing this long before, since Trump was a baby. So this is,
I mean, what I love about a parade with this much background and this much history too is in a country that feels very divided and polarized right now, we still have events like this where we can bring communities together and praise the marching bands from the military and the high schools.
Yes.
I love that.
And this is the kind of great again that when I hear that horrible phrase that's been co-opted, this is what I'm thinking of: a community getting together to celebrate and honor and enjoy themselves and have a big day out in the sun. All right, listen, when we come back, there is so much more. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 7:59 right now. You are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
This is our long break, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm going to run to
6
the restroom.
minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh, Mr. Parker. You know what? I think I'm going to go to the bathroom, too, so I'm not crossing my legs like a lunatic the last half hour. Scusa.
Hello, live stream. 'Tis you and I, yet again. It's been a minute since we've had one of these. Got any questions? Let me know. What's going on? I don't know if I'm not sleeping enough or what, but it has been a weirdly slow couple of days. Usually, you get through like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of flying, and then you get to Thursday and it slows down. And then Friday's kind of quick again, but no. It has felt very slow to me this week. Don't know what that's about. I have a guess. But I could be wrong, because usually I'm wrong, believe it or not. I am not the all-knowing man. My favorite part about when this happens is it's just you and me live stream, is I know that Frank is sitting back in his chair going, Parker, talking to himself, filling time. And I think he enjoys it. I think he has a way better time watching me do this than needing to chime in himself. That's why he hides from you guys. He just wants to watch Brian and Jamie and I talking. He doesn't want to talk. He didn't say hi until Swiper Stay today. He never popped in. Ooh, Mr. Plowking. Good question. How's the 10-second countdown work for all the over-the-air stations? Do they have producers listening for your count? No. So, the 10-second cue from me is basically just to tell Brian and Jamie that they need to be done with their conversation, because I don't want them to accidentally still be talking as we get into the actual segment, because then it would go over the air. So when we hit... As soon as you guys hear music is when we get back on air. And I don't want them to accidentally be talking still, because that wouldn't sound great if they were still chatting about something. So that is just a little heads up for them. That is just me. And the clock is automatic. The way that we do it, I don't have to fire it off myself or anything. It just goes on its own. That's how we've got it programmed here for this setup. like the question, though. Snackies? What you got?
What was that?
Snackies? What you got?
I had a fig bar. There's something in the building this morning that's stuffing me up. I don't know what they cleaned with last night, but
Blame Dom.
is he still cleaning?
I have no idea.
Oh.
He might be. It's been a little while since I've heard him say it, and he usually tells me if he is.
I think it was just why they were.
I thought it was just while they were on maternity.
I think so.
paternity. Yeah. But I don't know. He says it's a pretty penny.
I'm sure.
Who has a pretty penny?
Oh.
When Dom was helping one of our salespeople, his wife has a cleaning service. She actually cleans this building.
Okay.
And when they had their baby, they asked Dom if he would be willing to do the daily cleaning, and they paid him for it.
Oh, nice.
And so Dom actually earned. It was a good chunk
I
of
think a
money.
pretty good-
While they were
yeah.
on maternity and paternity leave.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was so funny, though. You'd come in here in the middle of the afternoon. Dom would be vacuuming and scrubbing up the toilets.
Poor guy. 10 seconds till we're back.
From Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, this is Wisconsin's Morning Conversation. Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you are having a great Wednesday. If you're in Appleton and Oshkosh, listening on WISS. If you're in Wausau, listening on WXCO, or in Hayward on WBZH, or even Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate it. I am Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. So happy that you're here. If you want to talk to us and get involved in the program, do so at 855-75-CIVIC. That's 855-752-4842. Certain age groups do not look kindly on benefits from the state. They don't want to take them unless they really, really need them. Well, that's one of the reasons that more than 200,000 adults 65 and older in Wisconsin are eligible for funding from SNAP, but they aren't getting anything. They are among the 9 million seniors nationwide that don't enroll in government programs that can help pay for food, medicine, and other daily expenses. That's according to the National Council on Aging's Benefits Participation Map, which was updated in May. So the president of the Coalition of Wisconsin Aging and Health Groups said he was surprised how much money is being left on the table by seniors missing out on their benefits. So if you are a senior, are you taking advantage of these benefits, or are you thinking, I'll just leave them for someone else? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842, because to quote the president and CEO of the Coalition of Wisconsin Aging and Health Groups, older generations don't want to take anything unless they absolutely need it. I can get by with what I've got, that sort of attitude. He said, we don't want people to just get by. We want people to thrive. So if you're not using these, is it because you don't know about them, which is a problem? And we'll give you a number in a little bit to that you can find out about it. But is it that you don't know, or that you're too proud for whatever. Those are for other people. People much more badly off than I am. I am not bad off enough. I don't need the government's charity.
I chuckle at this because this is the exact same conversation Corey and I have with my mother constantly. We're like, why don't you try that? This is a person you can talk to. We'll have the conversation with you. We'll help you. I don't need that. That's for people who don't make as much money as me. I don't need that. Well, let me tell you, you live on about $1,300 a month on a fixed income. Your rent's right around probably about $900. You need it. You're absolutely one of these people who needs these programs. And it's interesting, though, because when she does go and apply, because of what she does make from my dad's Social Security, depending on the program, she's sometimes at a fringe where she doesn't actually get much of a benefit. Right?
Okay.
So like with SNAP, she does have SNAP. Now, will she actually use it? No, that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
She does have SNAP, but she only gets like $24 on her
Oh,
car.
yeah, you've said that before. It's some woefully small amount that really would do nothing.
It's not helpful at all. It's literally like $24. I mean, and she
$24.
and she doesn't, and she will use it for like her staples, like milk and things like that. She will use it for staples. But really, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that seniors shouldn't do this, because I think these are great programs that they should definitely look into. But at the end of the day, if you're getting $24, it's because they tell you that you're kind of priced out, or because you're right at that threshold. I get it. It makes it hard. And then when there's a pride issue on top of it, it makes it even more difficult to convince them that these are programs.
What if they find out at church that I'm on the welfare?
That. And I'm like, well, and my mom is so funny because my grandpa was a very stoic human being, very prideful human being. And he passed away about 10 years ago now, lived well into his 80s. And she'll say to me, and this, please don't think I'm crass, but she'll say to me, well, what would Grandpa think? I don't know. He's dead. He's not going to think anything. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Who cares what he thinks?
He's thinking
not here.
Somebody wants to help you out. Take the help.
Exactly.
Take the help.
But I chuckle only because this is an ongoing conversation that we have had in our own family. This has been an ongoing conversation about what's out there, the benefits, why they're actually there, why you should probably try to be using some of these benefits. We've been having it for years. The conversation has not changed over the course of those years. I'll just be honest. So
it's hard, and it
is.
And as someone who is getting older, it is hard to change people's minds. You get set in your ways, and it's hard. But so the gaps are that people just don't want to use the programs. They don't know about the programs. They don't know how to apply. There's also that population that like we said, does not want benefits unless they think they truly believe it. So if you are a senior, or you know a senior who is in this camp, benefitscheckup.org is a website that you can go to, benefitscheckup.org, or call the National Council on Aging's helpline. That's 800-794-6559, 800-794-6559. And that's it. Now, counties with the lowest share of eligible people using this, or the share of eligible people who are using it, the lowest, Ozaukee and Washington counties only 13%. Waukesha County only 15.7%.
Wow.
Milwaukee County had the highest participation at 43%, according to the National Council on Aging. Buffalo County, Jackson, Pepin, Pierce, and Trempealeau counties, 17%. Now, the lowest share of eligible people enrolled in Supplemental Security Income, SSI, Green Lake, Marquette, Waupaca, and Waushara. Dodge and Jefferson counties, Waukesha, and then Milwaukee County, again, had the highest participation rate.
I've got to give Parker a little credit here. I was going to say, let's put those
Parker was ahead of it.
The show notes. I know. You're so
I saw him highlighting it, and
you.
I was like,
I
know I can give the website because he's on it.
Look
at you.
I love it.
Caring. He doesn't want me to go without eating. He wants old people to get everything they can. Thank you, Parker, for caring.
There's a couple of things that come to mind when we talk about this, though, especially with seniors. One is we didn't do certain age groups any favors in this world by thinking that they had to do everything themselves, right? Like I get it. There's certain things in
But
this
that's
world
how it was. That's how
I know,
it was.
I
You
know, and
it
we did. Yes, I get that, and it was very much a generational, cultural thing. I get that, but at the same time, now it didn't do them any favors, right? Because they
No.
are resistant to the help. The other thing that comes to mind for me on this is the fact that isn't this part of the problem with the system though itself? Because when there were so many changes to these programs, this was a major concern.
Yeah.
When this administration came in and started making changes, because it felt like it was being designed to be purposely difficult. The applications are long, they're confusing, they're difficult to navigate. Some of them now you can only get online. You can't actually call and get anybody to help you fill this out or answer your questions. It's very, very automated. And for a lot of individuals, especially of certain age groups, that's going to create a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And they're going to need a lot of help to navigate the system. And when those changes came down from this administration, I think that was one of my largest fears is how are certain sections of the population going to navigate this? And I understand there's a pride issue at stake here, but I think there's also a confusion issue at stake, purposely set up to be confusing and difficult so that people don't want to access this. And I get these calls from my mom all the time because she knows these are things that I talk about. They're in my wheelhouse. I'm constantly paying attention to these things. When all of the changes came down from this administration, she was panicked. And she's like, well, I have to check my benefits because they said we're going to lose my benefits and I need to check these and I know I need to make sure. Okay, all right. So I have all of her passwords and things. So I would go through it with her while I was on the phone and be like, look, okay, it says that you are still good. It says that you still have these benefits. Not every older adult has that option or that person to actually help them navigate through like that, though.
And we know just it's human nature. If you start getting frustrated, you're just going to throw in the towel. And especially if you're older and you're not tech savvy, you've got it's harder for you to read, and these contracts and policies and applications are small print. And where do I write my name? What box? It is a nightmare.
Yes.
But that way, you know what? That way we don't have to spend all that money.
Right.
Because, we tricked them. We tricked those people into not being able to get their benefits. So they don't know. Well, that's why people can always, if you know somebody or it's you, benefitscheckup.org or the National Council on Aging helpline at 1-800-794-6559. Don't leave the money. They want to give you the money. It's there for you. And here's the other thing. If you've made it to a certain age, you've been paying into these systems your whole life.
Yes.
It's your money. You're not taking a handout. You're just going into your pocket because that's basically what the government money is. You've paid it. I've paid it. We've all paid it.
Yes.
Use it. It's
and that's what we remind.
There's no shame. And there was never any shame. There should have never been any shame. But there is definitely no shame.
And we have to remind my mom of that all the time. You and Dad worked really, really hard for these benefits. This is what we have to constantly remind her. But, when seniors start skipping out on these programs, you think about what they do and the difficult choices that they make so that they can get by from check to check. And if they are living on a fixed income, and I see this with my mom, some of them are skipping meals completely. They're not getting the most nutritional foods that they can because they're buying what's cheapest at the stores. Some of them are even going to the extremes where they cut their pills in half so that they can stretch out their prescriptions, right? They delay those doctor visits. And when you get to a certain age or if you have health complications, you shouldn't be delaying those doctor visits. My mom does this all the time. And she's got congestive heart failure. Others keep their heat lower in the winter, or they put off on any home repairs if they're still living in their own homes, which then creates a little bit more of a danger for them. So it's this never-ending circle that they're not only not getting what they need, but then they're making decisions so that they can get by. And I am truly somebody who believes that when you get to a certain place in life, and I know that this is not the reality because of where we are as a population and as a country, But I firmly believe that there is some dignity with getting older, and you have given a lot, right? In some cases to this country, even if you just went in and you did a 9-to-5 job every day,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, you've paid in, and there's some sort of dignity that should be involved in that, and we don't give that to our seniors like we should.
Well, we're a country that is obsessed with youth. We're obsessed with the newest thing. We're obsessed with moving on. Just like, well, with that mural. Oh, it's been there 30 years.
Yeah.
We're just going to paint over it. These people are old. They're, it's rough. And the older you get, the more you realize it. And then if you have older parents, you really start to understand it and say, oh man, yeah, it's tough. When people, and we talked about work-life balance and everything before, when people seem to the system to have outlived their usefulness, we put them on the side.
Yeah.
If you can't be producing, if you can't be productive, if you're not bringing in money, if you're not generating things, yeah, okay, thanks for your service. See you later.
Yeah.
We don't need you anymore. And it's horrible. So take the money. It's your money. Take
Yeah.
the money.
Yes, take the money. Absolutely.
Well, Alexander Field, in Wisconsin Rapids, they're going to take the money.
They're taking the money.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're talking to Melissa Kay, Civic Media's news director, about some terminal upgrades at Alexander Field after this. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It's 8:19 right now, and you are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right. We are in break, and we've got Melissa here. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm
morning.
good.
Hi, Melissa.
Good morning. Hi,
Thanks for
Brian.
being here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Been
meet
a
you as
bit
well.
since we've gotten to talk to you.
Yes, it has.
Well, I'm excited you're here. This is good for Wisconsin Rapids.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll get into all of the details that you have and can share with us this morning.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you for accommodating the schedule to join us too.
Yes, thank you for giving me as much heads up as you could. That was perfect.
We try.
I know it's hard. There's a lot going on, a lot to juggle.
It is. It is. And I was like, well, this is a story that could hold a day or two, too, if she's busy tomorrow. So we were able to give you a few different options there.
Another one that might be coming up you may want to talk
Okay.
about is data centers.
Okay.
It's
Of
hot
course.
topic here. I'll be
Yep.
covering that today. Everybody's mad at the
Perfect.
mayor.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, as soon as you post that, we can set something up again.
Okay, sweet.
Wow. We've only got 40 minutes left.
Okay, it's fun. I was saying when you guys were out during the break, I was saying that it feels really slow.
Oh, it feels slow to you?
This week has been really, in general, this week has
Yeah.
been very slow to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Today's gone. This morning feels like it's gone exceptionally quick, but
Some days
Yes,
be
sir.
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yesterday at like 7:30, I was like, wow, I feel like it's already the end of the second hour. Like it was so slow yesterday. I don't know why.
Wow. Do we
Wow.
need to entertain you more, Brian or Parker?
Yeah.
don't
Do we
don't
need to
blame
tap
me.
dance
We did-
more?
Don't blame me
we
for
didn't have
Parker.
enough animal stories. I think that's a problem.
Do we need to like tap
Yesterday we
dance
talked
and
about
sing?
polar bears mating for 3 days.
I know, it wasn't enough.
What does it take to entertain you, Parker?
Yeah, Parker. Being a
Oh,
little
I don't know.
being a little picky.
Oh, we got 15 seconds till we're
I
back.
feel like you're not trying hard enough, Parker.
10 seconds.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Civic Media Network. It's 22 minutes after 8 now. Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday morning. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. Glad you're here. Big news out of Wisconsin Rapids. Construction is soon going to be happening at the Southwood County Airport. Plans to modernize and renovate the terminal at Alexander Field are going to proceed thanks to an FAA grant. Well, here to share the details of that grant and of the project is Melissa Kay. She's news director for WFHR and WIRI in Wisconsin Rapids. Melissa, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. So give us a little background. How did this grant come about?
Well, thank you for having me, Brian and Jamie. I'm glad to be here. So this grant came about because of the airport staff and the airport commission here in Wisconsin Rapids. Jeremy Sickler is the airport manager, and they have been pursuing this grant for quite some time. In fact, this kind of came out of COVID relief funds, and they've been going after these funds for a while because of the growth of Sand Valley here in Wisconsin Rapids area. It's actually located in Rome, about a half an hour from Wisconsin Rapids. But I'm sure you've heard of the Sand Valley Golf Resort. It's well known here in the state and even in DC. And the funding has been coming through for improvements since the growth began in 2017 after the course opened. Jeremy shared with me that the airport has seen a nearly 600% increase in jet activity since that opened. So it's well worth it for them to make these improvements. And they've been making improvements throughout the years here. But the last thing they need to fix is the 50-year-old terminal building. The structure is solid. It's just a little dated. I mean, and while old things are wonderful and we want to celebrate our older things, and especially the older things that hold up, which this building is. But I don't know about you, but paneling,
You need to update it a little bit. The pictures did. I saw the pictures. I went, yeah, okay, I can see a little modernization would be all right here. This is not, you're not desecrating any art.
No. The cinder block building could definitely use a facelift. But it's not just that. It gives it's the welcoming impression that it gives to so many of these private jets that are flying in. And then that brings business to the area. And maybe that'll attract more businesses. They say, oh, this is great. We've got this beautiful terminal. We've got an observation deck. Why don't I move here and start a business?
Do we know what changes they are planning on making with this grant that they've been given?
Well, it's basically just updates. When this building was built, there's not a lot of outlets. So when people come in and they need to charge their phones and their tablets, and they're all fighting over one wall plug, that doesn't leave the greatest, customer service representation. So they want to add more outlets. They want to update the lounge that's down in the basement. They have to add an elevator because currently they don't have one. There's just one staircase. And then if they can raise additional funds, they would like to add an observation deck on the top, maybe add some like picnic tables and an outdoor area for people to watch and observe the planes landing and taking off and landing.
Melissa Kay is our guest. She's news director for WFHR and WIRI in Wisconsin Rapids. So for those of us who haven't been to the Southwood County Airport or Alexander Field, is it mostly private jets? Give us a little background on the airport and you were told 600% increase. Must be nice to have that kind of dough if all these private jets are flying in.
I agree with that, Brian. That must be nice. It is a lot of private jets, but there's also, small charter planes. There's small, I don't know, plane models. I had this conversation with Jeremy Sickler, the airport manager, too. Like, what kind of planes could land? They could actually land a 737 Boeing jet at that airport.
Oh, okay.
They won't. They won't because there's no call for it.
Right.
But they could. The airport's capable of it. But mostly it's the largest that they see on a regular basis is like the 50 to 60 seat executive jet lines.
Sure.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest that land on a regular basis. But small two-seater Cessnas, probably even ultralights. I see those in the air sometimes around here. So, local people who have their pilot's license fly in and out of there. There's plenty of hangar space. Jeremy really hopes somebody would want to build another big giant hangar there. That would be handy. But at least that's what he told me.
Well, listen, you got that. You got the grant to leverage other things off. So maybe
That is what they're
that'll help.
hoping. They're
Yes.
hoping to raise some private funds to be able to make these additional increases and then make it more welcoming to the community.
Right now, it's expected to cost around $6 million with some of the improvements they want to make. Correct? And do they have plans for additional funding if they need to? And
The goal
that
is
look?
6 million. Right
Okay,
now, they've
okay.
only secured that 2.7.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
they're hoping to use that to leverage private funding, state and federal funds more if possible. But the private funding would have to come through for that 6 million.
Besides the airport growing with their traffic and everybody at the draw of Sand Valley, what's the larger economic impact to the area with food and lodging and entertainment and all of that?
Well, that's the thing, Brian. When a lot of these planes fly in, the people that own the planes or have chartered the planes are then going out to Sand Valley for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, however long they're here. Well, the pilots and the staff from those airlines are now staying in the community. They're at hotels in the area. They're visiting restaurants. They're going shopping. So it is a very much a boon for the area. We have an opportunity to hopefully increase our public transportation here in Wisconsin Rapids, which is sadly very minimal. And we could definitely hope for that. And then also, like I said, maybe somebody would say, "Hey, this is a great community. They have a beautiful terminal. Let's start a business
Yeah,
here."
There you go. Well, Melissa, we appreciate your time today. Melissa Kay is news director for WFHR and WIRI in Wisconsin Rapids. She's also co-host of Perspective, which comes your way right at 9 o'clock. Are you just the
I'm
host?
the host.
Straight up host? Oh, straight up host.
Producer,
Wow.
all of it. It's
Sorry,
all me, bro.
Sorry, Melissa. Didn't mean to denigrate. Melissa hosts the show. Listen to it. We'll be back. Good news on the homelessness front in Wisconsin. It's Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
All right, we're clear.
Sorry about that, Melissa.
Oh, that's okay. No worries.
Thank
There's a
you
lot
so very
going
much.
on.
Thanks much.
There is a lot
Absolutely.
going on. This
Good to
was
see you,
great.
Melissa.
Thank you. And as soon as that you have the data center story, we'll touch base again and we
Sounds
can
good.
talk about what's going on in Wisconsin Rapids.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Parker.
Bye. Good to see you. All right.
I got the show name right. That was good. I was just going to leave it at the news. And I was like, no, she hosts this show. We should say
She
something about the
does.
show. But, oh,
She
well.
does. It's all right.
I'm going to go fill my water.
Thanks for the update.
That was her brainchild, and we let her run with it. So, and it's a great local program.
So is
in
it
that
like a
area.
one interview news
She-
magazine, or does she do
It's
all
a,
kind-
li-
what
it's
is
a
she-
little bit like a news magazine where she, I believe, and I haven't, I'll be honest, I've only caught a couple of episodes.
Okay.
But she does, it's very local, and sometimes it's maybe a couple of stories, but it's essentially like a kind of a local news. Yeah.
Oh,
a
that's
little
cool.
bit. Yeah, it's very cool. And she gets a little bit more in depth with conversations and mayors and school board members and all of that, so people really understand what's happening going on in Wisconsin Rapids. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a great show. And like I said, I've caught it's been about a handful, but the ones I've heard she does a great job. So
Good.
looks like a very lovely morning. It is very active on State Street today.
Is it?
There's a lot happening today. Sometimes it's very quiet, but today there's a ton of people out walking and jogging and running, and there's tons of bikers. One thing we have not gotten to see yet this morning is the topless bikers. They
No.
haven't been by yet. I don't know
No.
when they bicycle by, though.
When is that? The naked bike ride?
Naked bike ride?
I don't know.
It's got to be in like July, right?
Well, it's got to be warm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
me
it's.
see.
Well, I know it's
You
in the
wouldn't-
summer, but
Yeah.
I'm looking. Mid to late June. So probably in the next
oh,
few
it's
weeks
coming
here.
up.
Okay.
It is.
Well, I'll keep up the street cam.
Please do.
The bear as you dare policy. Nudity is not mandatory.
Frank.
We can't even share that.
Frank.
I was in the pool.
Oh, Scripps Company opened on NASDAQ today. Oh my gosh. Goodness. Sorry for anybody watching on the stream. And if yawning is contagious as they say, you should be yawning pretty
Yes.
quickly now too.
I won't do it.
I will. Oh.
There's a hearing on college sports and student athletes happening right now.
Oh, then yes.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting conversation with somebody.
Yeah. And right
'Cause
now,
that's just such a,
it's not very interesting because it's Ted Cruz babbling,
well, you know.
trying to pronounce Nick Saban's name.
Saban.
I'm not sure. It's taken him like, I'm just, all I can see is the closed captioning.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you have
All
the
I
greatest.
all I can see is the closed captioning, and it's been say like there's been
like he's actually stuttering. at
like
it.
he's
Oh.
actually trying to get it out. It was actually kind of funny. Sometimes the closed captioning is fun.
All right. 15 seconds.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:35 right now. Thank you for having us on today. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. We'd love to hear from you at 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Feel free to jump in whenever you can. Good news for the homeless situation in Wisconsin and across the country. There were fewer homeless people in the United States on a single night in January 2025 than in January 2024, but homelessness did increase in 28 states, according to the latest federal count. Now, year over year, there have been declines. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development counted 745,652 homeless people in the latest point-in-time estimate. That's down 3% from the year before. The count was conducted before the Trump administration late last year announced a shift away from long-term housing in favor of funding transitional housing with work and addiction treatment and requirements. So we're going to put people in halfway houses instead of long-term housing.
Yeah.
HUD says the decrease was driven largely by a 4% decline in the number of people in emergency shelter. The number of unsheltered homeless people fell by about 3%. So still a huge, huge problem, and there's never an answer, right? There's never an answer what you're going to do. Just looking, somebody asked about the elections last night. There's a mayoral election in Los Angeles, and one of the candidates looks like he's going to be one of the two in the general election.
Sure.
Is Spencer Pratt, who was a reality star. He made it. His house burned down in the fires last year, so he's all angry about that. Then it made it look like he was living in a trailer, but that trailer was parked outside the Beverly Hills Hilton where he was really living. The point of why I bring him up is they asked him about the homeless problem in Los Angeles because it is really, really rampant out there. That problem is very widespread. And his response, he is a Republican, I'll just put that out there. His response, they're not homeless, they're drug addicts, we're going to get rid of them all. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people look. It's not drug addicts. We know there's a lot of people with mental problems.
Sure.
We know there are alcoholics, drug addicts. There are also people who are working minimum wage jobs and who lose their homes.
Yeah.
We know that there's families living in their cars. We know that a country that has espoused being the richest country on earth also has the most people living on the streets.
Yeah.
But where do we go? Well, that's the question, right? We always come back to, okay, what do we do? Because if you talk to experts, they say there's a lot of the people who have the mental disorders and stuff. They don't want to go into shelters. They don't want to go in to places. There's people who've had bad experiences in shelters. They'd rather take their chances out on the streets. So you're never going to eradicate homelessness.
No.
But what do we do for the people who do want to go somewhere else?
What I think is interesting is the president's response and his administration's response to homelessness, right? Because this administration, as we talk about places that have increased and some that have decreased, their response is to say that a lot of the policies that cities and states have implemented, since 2013, this is all just proof that they're not actually doing anything.
Right.
And that's not helpful. That's not helpful. and I mean, and obviously
it helps them
that's
shift the blame away from themselves.
Right. Exactly. About 22, this is across the country, about 22 of every 10,000 people are homeless on any given night. And one of the big improvements that we've seen since 2024 was a decline in the number of unhoused families with children. That's actually down about 11%. So that's that's very good news.
Sure.
But at the same time, you're right, this is essentially affecting everyone. And even if you've never experienced homelessness yourself, employers struggle to find workers when housing is unavailable. Schools then face greater challenges when students don't have stable homes. Hospitals, law enforcement, local governments, they all often end up responding to problems that could have been prevented just because somebody could have had a home, right? Or somewhere to at least go. And I think it's interesting that here in Wisconsin, we've seen several in some communities. We've actually seen, housing facilities close because they didn't have the grant money or they didn't have the aid anymore to keep those facilities open. And granted, when you're talking about some of these communities and some of these facilities were only, could maybe only house 10 to maybe 20 people, and maybe in some cases even less, it doesn't feel like a great number. But think of the people that impacted on a given night that weren't on the streets, that had a place to go. And it's also fascinating that when we talk about the decrease across the nation, Milwaukee is actually bucking that trend just a little bit, right? In fact, their numbers are growing as far as homelessness in Milwaukee.
Right. They're saying there's a little progress, but yeah, you're right. Overall homelessness in Milwaukee is up. A few years ago, Milwaukee's the Common Council and everything, they said they were on track to end family homelessness, but the number of people who are homeless has grown. So maybe there's less families living or who are homeless, but individuals there's more. And listen, Milwaukee is no different than any major city. If you drive around, you'll see encampments under viaducts and everywhere. It's tough. Organizations there are working on the issues. They say Milwaukee has quietly become an example of how coordinated prevention efforts can work during a larger national crisis. So the data collected by the Milwaukee Coalition on Housing and Homelessness shows more people are entering Milwaukee's homeless service programs than exiting it. So that's good. 765 people entered the service since 2025. That was when it was without stable. Those people are without stable housing for an average of 88 days. 77%. 77% homeless for the very first time, and that shouldn't scare if you're not in that position, but it should just scare you as a person who's part of this society.
Yes.
That, man, it can happen that fast. We all have heard the numbers that a lot of families are one major accident or something away from that. One car repair, one missed mortgage payment, or missed rent payment, one day that they get sick and they don't have insurance, and so they have to pay out of their pocket, or they have to miss work, and then they get fired, and now it's
And I was doing when I was looking at these two stories back to back last night, and I was kind of like, well, if we know that there's rural house like facilities closing in rural areas of the state, how is the rural portion of the state doing in Wisconsin based on this national trend? And it turns out that Milwaukee is not the only part of the state that is bucking this nationwide trend.
Yeah.
In fact, more than 3,200 people are experiencing homelessness in Wisconsin's rural counties. That's a 9% increase from just last year. And across the state, homelessness has climbed above 5,200 people. That's the highest level here in Wisconsin in nearly a decade. And at the same time that we're talking about that, more than 20,000 Wisconsin students are experiencing homelessness right now. That's the highest number since 2019. And what makes it, I think, so much different than when we're talking about urban areas like Milwaukee and Madison, right, in this state, or even your areas near Green Bay, Oshkosh, it's a little bit more invisible when you get into those rural communities.
Yeah. You don't
right?
see the encampments. You don't you just Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's more open space for people
Yes.
to go. And I was going to say hide, but hide isn't the right word, but go where they're not out in public view as much.
Right. And you think about the fact that, some of that means maybe sleeping in a car. Sometimes it means staying temporarily with a relative. Maybe they're doing a couch surfing type of thing where they're just going from house to house. And because it becomes less invisible in those rural communities, I think for a lot of us, it's easier to, ignore probably isn't the right word, but not realize that it's even happening. Yeah.
When it's not in it's like anything. When it's not in your face all the time, you don't really know that it's happening. You don't think about it like you think. As you're driving through rural communities, you're not thinking about homelessness. As you're driving in downtown Milwaukee or walking down State Street in Madison, you see the homeless people are right in front of you. So they're top of mind. You're like, oh my God, what do we do? How do we stop this? If I'm driving through the country, you're not thinking about it. Even if I see somebody's car packed up with stuff, I just figure they're going somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think if you're listening to this today and you're kind of appalled by these numbers, as you should be, I think one of the numbers that stood out to me the most as I was going through this was the student homelessness numbers.
Yeah.
Because that is, we're already dealing with school districts, right, that have diminishing numbers. Just a few weeks ago, we watched a lot of these towns have referendum votes. So we were already talking about diminishing services and student populations. And now we're talking about children who literally don't have a place to go on some nights. And when a child doesn't know where they're going to sleep, if you've been a parent, stability is a really big thing for kids. It's crazy how they like to know exactly what's happening in their world. Learning for them, though, is going to become much harder. And then those are the types of challenges that are going to follow them for basically most of their lives.
The kids are going to fall behind. And we talked about earlier with the Portage District getting their grant about all the mental health issues. Talk about being anxious.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't have a place to live, or the like you said with the couch surfing. You don't know whose house you're living in today. Maybe you're with grandma, but maybe grandma wants you to leave. And I've had exposure to kids who are living that way, and it is very difficult. And then there's nowhere to really study. There's nobody.
No. Your
parents are trying to figure out how to get you a roof over your head. They're not spending a lot of time helping you with your schoolwork, and everything is connected to everything else. And when we try to silo some of these problems, we're missing the big picture. Because, all right, it's just homelessness. Well, who's homeless? Well, the family with the kids in the school. Well, where do the kids go to school? Well, that's an issue because we got to find somebody who will let us use their address so that we're in the district. And, well, don't you have a job? Well, I did, and I got laid off, and that's why I am homeless. But I can't get a job because I don't have an address because they're going to check, and I'm not paying rent, so I don't have a credit thing. So now I can't get a job. My kid can't go to school. I got to live with somebody else. I got to park the car somewhere, and we all live out of that. Or maybe I could do some day work, get a little cash, and we're staying at a cheap hotel, and that's not good either. Everything just keeps rolling. Yeah.
It's never ending.
I can't imagine the stress that puts on you as an individual.
Yep.
Then add the stress of being a parent.
Yep.
Then add your kid's stress. Forget about it.
You know, and kudos to cities like Milwaukee and I know other more urban areas that have some resources, but I think that's one of the underlying issues when you look at the rural areas, right? They have fewer resources. Roughly 60% of Wisconsin's homeless population lives in rural communities. Wow. Those areas only have about 23% of the state's supportive housing units that they have in places like Milwaukee and Madison. There's not enough resources to go around.
We are not solving any problems today. We are just pointing more out, and it's a little disheartening. You know what else is disheartening? When ideas are stolen. I'm looking at you, world pup. We'll talk about that and more. It is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan. She's Jamie Martinson. This is the Civic Media Network.
World pup.
The world pup.
Frauds.
You heard it.
On all their commercials, they make puppies wear little capes.
There was another, oh man, I don't know how close we are to getting a beagle, to be honest with you. We're not. I know, but they on World News Tonight, they put another 1,300 beagles out there.
I know.
And they're showing all these beagles, and there were two guys, David Muir highlighted them. There are two 20-something guys in Chicago who went to the shelter and saw the beagles, and they're showing the beagles, and Debbie's like, oh, beagle. I'm like, no beagles.
Oh, get a beagle.
We have two dogs.
You need a third.
No. In another few weeks, we'll have Walter. So then,
be a party.
Puppy party.
This is not the Bumpus's house.
Then Frank can bring over T-Bun, and it'll really be a party then.
Come on, Brian.
You guys, Parker, you live at home. You can get yourself a nice beagle.
I've got a dog.
Well, you need a second dog.
We talk about getting
a third, though.
We talk about getting another dog, and Aspen loves other dogs, except she's very dominant. So we've talked about it because Corey loves beagles. Loves
the more I see them, I'm like, oh, but I know they love to howl. I know they're very loud.
Aspen is funny because she's got an Aru. She doesn't really bark, but she doesn't really howl. It's more, it's like a combo of a bark and a howl. So it comes out as literally like she's saying Aru.
Oh, does she throw her head back? That's my favorite thing. When a dog we had a dog that would do that. Just not all the time. Every once in a while, she would just, but
sometimes she will, but a lot of time, like she's got to be watching something. Like I was saying, we have buns that live under our concrete patio. And so when they come out and then they just sit like at the corner of the yard where she can see them and she really wants, then she'll throw her head back because then it's basically, I think she's just having a temper tantrum at that point because she actually can't get out to the bun at that point.
Okay.
So she will throw her head back then and Aru purposely then. But she's such a little diva, though. The other day, she got mad at me because she wanted her water bowl was empty because she drank it all when we came in. I didn't realize it was empty. And she wanted her water bowl filled. And so I didn't realize what she was doing. And I heard her like dinkling in her bowl, but she loves food. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I was in the living room and I turned around and pretty soon she is literally there. And she's like, she's like stomping her foot at me. She's like,
oh, man. I love when they do that. All right, I'm coming.
She was so upset with me.
We got 10 seconds to her back.
Fairly solid and better than expected. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's puppy love. That's awesome. awesome. It's 8:52 right now. I'm Jamie Martinson.
Donny Osmond, bringing it back.
Love
Wow,
Donnie.
Parker.
Donnie was the best.
Wow.
That's good. Good job, Parker.
Sometimes I remember the names of songs you guys tell me.
Because I have no shame anymore, I will tell you I had that album. And then we'll move on. All right, Jamie, you brought this to my attention because I hate when somebody steals another idea. I have disdain for reboots and all of that because somebody put this in, and now you've brought me even the world of puppy sports are being affected.
Here's the thing with this one, though. Can we really, truly in this world, and I get that this is a downright just stealing of ideas, but really in this particular moment in time, I think I'm okay with this one because I think we all need a little bit more puppy in our life. I'm okay with this one.
All
I'm
right.
okay with this one.
Well, in why? How do we get that puppy in our life?
Well, on June 10th, LG Channels is going to launch World Pup. And this is going to put rescue puppies on the football field so that they can raise adoption, so that they can raise awareness for adoption. And these baby dogs are going to play soccer. Right?
Oh.
So if you're thinking that this is a lot like the Puppy Bowl, yes, you are exactly right. You are exactly 100% right that this is exactly like the Puppy Bowl. And yes, it's the exact same producers that produces the Puppy Bowl.
Okay, that makes sense. Listen, we had one good idea. We're going to keep milking that idea.
This is all for fun and charity, obviously, and the producer of the Puppy Bowl is All 3 Media, America's Bright Spot Content, and they are behind this four-part soccer series.
It's got to be a bracket, so it's got to come down to the World Pup Champion.
48 rescue puppies participating in this bracket, and they're going to represent 8 nations to mirror the global appeal of the World Cup, which obviously kicks off the following day. Even though all the pups are from the United States.
Kicks off. I see what you did there. That was very good.
The U.S. World Cup veteran and CBS Sports host Jimmy Conrad is going to serve as the tournament's official referee, and I'm very excited about this. LG Channels has partnered with 12 shelters and rescue organizations across the country so that they can spotlight rescue animals in need of a home. It's going to be available on LG Smart TVs and on LGchannels.com if you want to catch the World Pup. And in all the commercials, the puppies are wearing capes. It's just the cutest thing ever.
Like Liberace capes or superhero capes?
Superhero capes.
Okay.
They have the superhero capes. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I don't
They're
care.
wearing. Yes. No. I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable. I'm trying to figure out the cheer. You know, when you're watching soccer and there's somebody scores a point, it's a goal. So will the puppies just yell "bowl"?
I don't.
What's going to be
yes, I think
yelled
you
out?
have to. I think you absolutely
Bone.
have to. Oh, it's gonna be so good. And this is why in this particular case, because I love the Puppy Bowl. Every year before the Super Bowl, it's one of my favorite traditions. They've added the Kitten Bowl to it, and I am always glued to the Puppy Bowl.
Of
and
course.
It's my favorite part of Super Bowl weekend. And so if I can get 4-part series of this now before the World Cup, yes,
Are we doing an
all the
office
ideas.
bracket? Like March Madness?
should.
Are we
We
going to?
should.
Is there going to be wagering on the
We should,
World Pup?
absolutely.
Parker,
We should,
you're a
absolutely.
demented, deranged gambler, a degenerate gambler. Can we start
There
something?
you go. You
Degenerate.
I stick with all 3 adjectives. All of those.
Okay, fair. Hey, I'll bet on the Puppy Bowl. You get, or sorry,
The
Puppy Bowl.
World Pup.
World
The
Pup.
World
I'm
Pup.
sorry, World Pup. Very different things.
Yes, very different things. One's a football, one's a soccer, and there's a whole lot of cuteness involved in both. Now, during the break, we were talking about the fact that your lovely wife is getting beagle fever every time she watches the news, and she sees all these beagles.
Yeah, but she's insane.
But I got a solution for you. Have you seen our text from Tiffany?
I saw Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany.
Tiffany has a foster beagle, Sunny, who is absolutely the sweetest, says Tiffany. Super well behaved and smart. She says
I'm
you need
sure.
a beagle, Brian. Adopt
I
her.
have two. I have two dogs. I am not opposed to dogs. I have had dogs
love
for
dogs.
30 years. I'm still dealing with a health issue on one of the dogs.
Yeah.
I have a grand dog that comes over, increasing, tripling the dog amount in the house. So at this point, there will be no additional dogs coming into the house. That is, you only have one. Parker
do
only
only
has
have one.
one.
How
Frank has
persuasive-
0.
How
listen?
persuasive is your wife, though? This is what I have to ask.
Not- Not on some things.
Okay.
On
all
this, there will be no as Homer Simpson once said, the foot has spoken.
Okay. All right.
So there will
it's
be
funny
no
because
more dogs.
We frequently talk about getting another dog because Aspen is a whole pile of love and fun. However, Aspen is also a little dominant. And what we have found is when she goes to like our puppy, because her dog trainer also puppy sits her a lot of the times for us. And because he knows her very, very well. And she does very, very well until she realizes they're not leaving. And then she gets a little territorial. And he's actually worked with her on it, and we have too. And I'm just afraid it would not be a good situation. And I don't want to ever put Aspen in that situation or another dog in that situation.
You have to find the right dog that blends in.
Right.
We've been really lucky since we got our very first dog. When we brought second dogs in, everybody got along to the point where we had one situation where we went to see, there was a dog. Oh, Debbie loved this dog. She was going to bring her home because one of our dogs had passed away. And I didn't like this dog from the jump. And I said, all right, but you know what? we'll bring Baloo. That dog went to attack our dog within seconds. I was like, I told you that was a bad dog. Why don't you ever listen to me? And on that happy note, no beagles, but we will be back tomorrow. Thank you for listening and being part of the program. We appreciate it. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak.
I'm Jamie Martinson. Thank you so much for another fun-filled, interesting, newsworthy day. We'll be back again tomorrow on the Civic Media Network.
See ya.
Right, live stream. Have a good, whatever today is, Wednesday.